There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonko table. That is the voice of Grandmaster Hoop coming at you from the, I don't know, whatever Kodak Theater they do the Oscars at, because we here at the Yonko table are talking about the Oscars. That's right. This is our Oscars preview, and we are going to be going through the nominations, who we want to win, the front runners, the snubs, all the good stuff about the latest from the Oscars from the 2022 season. But listen, I've already talked too much. This ain't my show tonight. I'm going to hand the reins to Supernova, Dr. Rika, who has put this whole idea together, and she's here, and she's going to take us the rest of the way. Dr. Rika, go ahead. The table is yours.
I appreciate it, Grandmaster. Well, the goal today is to talk about the Oscars and where we're at, how we're feeling. Are we excited? Are we not excited? And where I'd like to start is what our history is with the Oscars. Are we yearly watchers? Are we like social media, lurkers? How do we feel about the Oscars? Is it something you get excited for every year?
Ooh. I think once upon a time, I think in the 2010s, or late 2000s, early 2010s, I was very invested in the Oscars, and then I started falling off more and more every single year. For some reason, this year has re-sparked my interest in the Oscars, and I watched 7 out of the 10 Best Picture noms, and I'm here and I'm ready, and I'm gonna keep riding this wave with the Oscar season. So here I am.
Cooper TV, Dr. Mondo.
Yeah, I think the Avatar Oscars, something about that race. I think I became really invested in back in like 2009, 2010.
Oh, that was a good year.
Yeah, because I think, Avatar had won like the Golden Globes, and it was definitely seen as like, this undeniable, like train that couldn't be stopped. And, when it ended up being upset by the Hurt Locker and it being James Cameron's ex-wife, that was
poetry.
That was really, it was really like really big. It just like felt like in that moment it was really like, wait, what just happened? And honestly, I think since then I've been pretty invested in watching it every year and trying to see as many of the best pictures as I can. I think, I don't know if AMC still does this, but AMC used to do this thing called the Best Picture Showcase, where they would like show all the Best Picture movies like over the course of one weekend. So it'd be like 5 one day and 5 the next day. And
they
I used to do
still
that,
doing it, actually.
I used to do that every year, and I would like catch up. It was like a lot of movies to watch. It was like a lot of movies to watch over the course of one weekend, but I used to do that. And now I've gotten to a place where I'm like, a little more plugged in. So by the time this, the Oscars comes around, I'm like, at most like maybe a handful, like, a tops 5. Sometimes if I'm really on my game, it might be like 2 or 3. So, so I've been watching it ever since I think the Avatar Oscar, and I try to make it like a point to catch all the best pictures.
Can I piggyback off of that real quick? My long lost brother and I, actually, I'm going to take it back to 2009. We watched those Oscars and saw Slumdog Millionaire won. And we immediately, I think the next day, went to go watch Slumdog Millionaire to see what all this hype was about. And I think that really started our Oscar kind of whatever. Wherever he is, my long lost brother. So I remember that vividly.
To piggyback off your piggyback, similar story with my similar long lost brother. I think, I do also recall that we had watched Slumdog Millionaire and it was like named Best Picture. And then we went and saw it and it lived up to the hype. It was this really like big and bombastic and kind of like, different kind of flavor than like I think kind of, the normal movies we probably were watching in 08, 09, 2010 back then. So I think it kind of like cemented in our eyes like, oh wow, the Oscars do have like, something to say, and they do have like, they can point you in the right direction if you're kind of, especially like maybe, some of our audience who are, more inclined to, just catch the superhero movies and stuff like that, the big blockbusters, if you will.
Well, I hope each of you find your long lost brother. Dr.
Sure.
Manda?
No, like in my case, I am not an avid follower of the Oscars. Sure, like I've seen it very intermittently. A lot of the times I just look up, oh, so these were the nominated movies, and I just see them because I just want to see good movies. But I don't pay that much attention. Sure, social media sometimes has its own little stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, this happened. But yeah, this year I just wanted to see the movies beforehand, and I think I got almost all of them. And even like in other categories, like throughout the year, without even me knowing, I saw like some of those movies that were there. So yeah.
I guess I'll be the last to share. Similarly, I think something like sparked, there was interest in the Avatar race. I don't think I really started watching each of the best pictures until about like 2012, 2013, where I made it a point to see the whatever was nominated for best picture. And so every year since then, I have seen at least every best picture nomination before watching the Oscars, because I wanted to feel kind of in the know. I think similar to Hooper TV, the more that I have had like been invested in award season and what kind of all goes into that, I tend to see movies a little earlier rather than kind of binging them near the end. So lately I've been pretty good. My track record of seeing it throughout the year whenever they're released. But yeah, so I'm glad we're all here. I think what I'd like to do before we talk about our interest in this year's show is just revisit the top 6 winners in the big categories from last year, just to see how we feel a year out. So as a reminder, last year's like big 6 winners, we had Best Picture, Coda was a surprise winner. Best Actress, Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. We had Best Actor, Will Smith for King Richard. Best Supporting Actress, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. Best Supporting Actor, Troy Kotsur for Coda. And then Best Director, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. We're a year out. Did y'all see any of these films? If so, how are you feeling about its winners?
Oh, I have to pull up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to know is who remember Coda won Best Picture last year? Did everybody remember Coda won Best Picture?
I did not remember.
I did not.
I did.
I had to look it up too when I saw this was going to be a topic. I mean, I liked Coda. It definitely, like, the big kind of knock against it was that it felt like very Hallmarky, like it was like the best Hallmark movie ever or something like that. That's what, like, it was kind of tagged as. And, when I saw it, I definitely felt that. But by the end, it did win me over. The scene where, the girl sings, I think Joni Mitchell. I'm not going to remember the song name. But when she sings Joni Mitchell, that moment did really get to me. But and I was like, okay, I'm not mad at this. But you fast forward a year, and I was like, who did win Best Picture last year? I couldn't remember. So I don't know. 1 year later, I don't know if Coda's going to stand the test of time as being one of those all-time Best Pictures. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear those winners be read aloud.
I missed a lot of films last year's Oscar season. Did not see Coda. If I had to pick anything to win, I think I was rooting for King Richard maybe, or Dune, because I like looking at Best Picture as all-encompassing, I guess. I felt Dune definitely felt like an maybe I'm like the epic. Maybe I go for the epic win versus the smaller win. I remember Power of the Dog had a lot of hype. I did watch Power of the Dog. I was like, okay, what's the cowboy's name? Don't mess with I forget. They made a bunch of memes about it.
Oh wow, what was his name?
Yeah, what was his name? I don't remember. They kept saying don't mess with this certain cowboy.
Wait, now I have to look it up. Keep
talking. Either way, I definitely last year was bad for me. I did. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you what. I was most invested last year with Best Actor because
Bronco Henry.
Right.
And you know, and I know I paused a long time, but I made it a point not to look it up. I wanted to pull it out of the back.
It was a big deal, Bronco Henry. I remember. And that's like the only thing I remember about that movie. Other than Benedict was a dick, I guess. Trying to get some dick too. Funny enough. But no, I remember I was very invested in Andrew Garfield. I wanted him to win for Tick, Tick, Boom. And that was the most investment I had for last year's Oscars. So I loved Will Smith in King Richard. But I was really rooting for Andrew Garfield. But other than that, I can't even speak on the Best Actress nominees, except for Kristen Stewart. I did watch Spencer. And that's it. That's really all I got for last year's Oscars. Oh, and I saw Ariana DeBose. That was well deserved. That was good.
Like last year's Oscars when it came to the movies, I think the ones I remember, Dune, I was like on the Dune train there. Power of the Dog, I saw King Richard's, West Side Story, and like Ariana DeBose, I was like, yeah, she has to win, hands down. When it came to Best Actor, I was between Will Smith and Andrew Garfield in Tick Tick Boom. Tick Tick Boom was fantastic. So I was like, one of these two has to win it, but I don't remember the one that like the Coda. I didn't remember it at all. Like, so
I think that's important.
I remember all the more the movies that didn't win, and even some that got snubbed than Coda.
Tama, what's a snub for you? What's something that got snubbed last
year?
The
Green Knight.
Ooh, okay. I see that. I can see that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, no, I think it's weird. It's I thought 2021 was a really strong year in terms of movies. Like, I love The Power of the Dog. That ending also slugged me in the chest where I was like, wait, what? You know, I really like The Worst Person in the World. Nightmare Alley.
I loved The Worst Person in the World.
Great movie. I really like Nightmare Alley. I think it was
good.
Like, you know,
I thought
it was so good.
I loved how everything was just full circle. The entire movie, and how he ends exactly where he began. It's like perfect.
See, that's a Guillermo project. I might check that out.
Kate Blanchett also kills it.
It's also great in that. I'm sure we'll be talking about her more. Looks to the left. And yeah, Tick Tick Boom. Love Tick Tick Boom. And it was just like, I guess like my love for that year and like all the movies just didn't really happen to be reflected in the people that won the awards. I mean, out of everybody we mentioned, Ariana DeBose, she did the thing. She was really, I mean, like I didn't dislike West Side Story or anything like that, but watching that movie, seeing her, I think America, the American song, talk about, blew me away. I was like, I think I walked out, was just like, yeah, she deserves Best Supporting Actress. Like that's hands down was an electrifying performance.
That's her crowning achievement in the movie for sure.
And the fun fact, it's the only role that both actresses that have played that role have won the Oscar.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is
Rita Moreno won an Oscar for that same exact role.
And it's crazy to think, like, you know, having to live up to that hype and then being able to do it. You know,
exactly.
So
as a Puerto Rican actress too, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people were championing. That was a champion moment. People were championing for that to happen, and it did.
Yeah, out of all the winners, I think I'll remember that one the most.
Especially now that since she did the thing.
Yeah.
She did do the thing.
She did.
So in moving forward, I think from a reflection on last year, I have a lot of the same feelings that you all have. I really liked Coda. I'm curious about how we'll view this like 5 years from now, what our thoughts may be. But what has you interested for this year? Is there a particular race, a movie? What has you invested?
Goodness. It was not until my second watch of Everything Everywhere All at Once where I realized that is, I think, just the perfect film. But I'll tell you what really solidified me trying to get into more of the movies nominated and watching was when you, Dr. Rika, put me onto the Banshees. All this talk about the Banshees, and it was on HBO Max. I put it on. 20 minutes in, I'm like, okay, this movie's whatever. And then you hear a clunk on his door, and it's a feckin' finger. And I was like, what? What is this movie? I couldn't believe it. And then from there, I think I was like, I need to watch some of these other films. And that's really, Everywhere definitely peeked the door open, and then the feckin' fingers definitely kicked it all the way through. And here I am now, 7 out of 10 movies in, and I'm gonna try to watch some more. But I'm definitely rooting for Everything Everywhere. But I'll get into more of my hot takes as we get into these categories. But that thing is the greatest movie of all time. I mean that. It's no longer Cats Don't Dance. It's no longer Spider-Man 2. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once. But I'll rest my case for now.
Yeah, those are big words for Grandmaster Hoop.
So with regards to this Oscar race, when it comes to like best movies, at least, I like that there's so much like variety in the list, because like you have your kind of action blockbuster, which is Top Gun. You got your weird, wacky movie, which is Everything Everywhere. You got your very serious movies, such as Tar. You have your like biopic Elvis. You have, and like kind of like dark comedy, which is Banshees. And you can just go, and then your CGI Wonderland, which is Avatar. So it's like it's a very varied list, and they're all great movies for different reasons. At least I haven't seen them all, but that was like, I found it really interesting compared to previous years. And this, I don't remember like specifics from like previous years, but I felt that many of the movies, it was like this very dramatic, very well acted, very well written, scripted movie that I'm always for that. But I found this year to be more interesting in the choices.
I think you bring up a good point in terms of the variety. So the Academy, they have to pick 10 Best Picture nominees each year. So it used to be 5, and then it was kind of moved anywhere between like 5 to 10. But now it is solidified there is going to be 10 every single year, which allows which allows for there to be variety from comedies or satires to biopics and dramas and action, etc. So I think that's a really good point in terms of some of the variety of our Best Picture nominees. I will say that has me invested. I think Everything Everywhere has me invested. But I also like a lot of these kind of unknowns, especially in a lot of the acting races. As far as, we'll get to them, Best Actress, I think even Best Supporting Actress feels like super up in the air. Best Actor. So I think there's a lot more closer races than what I remember in previous years where things felt kind of like a lock. I think we have one of the acting categories that feels pretty sure as far as Best Supporting Actor, and we'll get there. But some of these others, like, it could be a huge surprise or a huge celebration, whatever that may be, depending on who you're rooting for. And that has me invested because it hasn't been frequent in the last few years that I feel like I've had to take a guess at who may win. So I think that's what has me invested. I also just absolutely adore Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I feel is reflected in some of the wins and other awards throughout this past season, which we'll talk more about. But I really, really loved that film for a lot of different reasons, but appreciated a lot of what was everything else that was within the list as well. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like we're talking about Everything Everywhere, and I feel like I got something off my chest. So I really like this movie. I think it came out like last April.
March, yeah.
Wow, so it came out before the Oscars?
Yeah.
Of last year? Wow, that's a long time.
It's been a while. Almost a year.
I left that movie being like, oh wow, this is like really creative. This is like has some cool performances. You know, it would be great if like the Academy honored maybe one or two of these performances of this movie. It would be crazy if they gave this movie like a Best Picture nomination. I was like, that's kind of like how I felt leaving that movie. I was like, man, you know what? The Oscar, like the Academy's probably gonna sleep on this movie, but it's like worthy of like, getting some recognition. That's like how I have felt. And then you fast forward to kind of, only like, I guess like 3 months out, just like the kind of culture around Everything Everywhere just kind of like flipped at some point. And now as we're only like a couple days away, it's like the clear front runner for like Best Picture. It's like the clear front runner for like, I mean, some people might say 3 of the acting categories, in terms of like who might win there. And I find myself kind of as a, just person who loves storylines in general and somebody who, does prefer like the underdog every now and then. Kind of not necessarily rooting for Everything Everywhere All at Once to lose like certain categories. Like I'm not actively rooting against it, but I don't know if it's like a clean sweep. I never find clean sweeps that exciting. You know what I mean? Where they just start winning like a bunch of awards. I think what I'm invested in is to see where like I think upsets could happen involving Everything Everywhere, especially like maybe in Best Picture. I'm very curious if somebody, and I kind of really doubt it, if like a movie could muster up enough momentum to possibly take Best Picture from Everything Everywhere and like the last, kind of stretch of the race. We'll see, but if that happens, I'd be like, whoa, wow, that it would have been like a major upset. And of course, I'm always kind of looking for that. So that is something I'm definitely looking for.
Well, we're going to go ahead and start talking about some of the categories. Where we'll start, and the idea is for us to just talk about some of our standout nominations, if any, if there are any stubs you feel like weren't represented in what was nominated, any predictions or hopeful winners. You may not have answers for all of these, that's okay. We do want to give love to each category, but likely we'll spend more time on the top 6. But where we'll start is with animated docs and shorts. So this includes animated feature, animated short, documentary feature, and documentary short. So in any of those categories, anything a standout, something you wish was nominated, something you hope wins.
I got nothing for docs nor doc short. I don't even know where to find these things when you want to watch them, so I got nothing. Animated short, I don't think I have anything for animated short either. I'm so sorry.
I sent one in the group chat.
Oh, you did. I did not watch it. You're right. Sorry. My goodness. I was used to just picking the Pixar short and letting that one. Take it.
I didn't see any of those, unfortunately. So
does this look bad of us? Is this bad? Are we?
You know what? I will speak for some of these categories then, because I did at least watch 2 of the shorts that I could find on the internet.
Okay.
And what I will say is, I actually absolutely adored Ice Merchants. And it's funny in Grandmaster Hoop because I feel like you would like it. So you should watch it.
Ice
But it
Merchants.
is, yes. So it is available on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's 2D animation. So it's kind of this like drawn style. And it's very minimalistic. And so just the plot, it's about just a father and his child they cut ice and they parachute off of their little house that is stuck to a mountain and go and deliver ice to the little village below and then climb back up and keep doing that each and every day. But because of global warming, that may not be possible anymore as the ice starts to melt. But there's a deeper story in that about just the relationship between father and son. And then there's something I really just don't want to give away that I think it's better and more impactful when you watch.
Listen, I just found it. 15 minutes. I'm in there tonight after this.
I was like crying. I was like, why am I crying over these little drawn characters? But I think it's a testament to just the story being told. So there's no dialogue. It's just the art. And it's a 15 minutes worth of time. I also watched My Year of Dicks. That is on Vimeo. And it's about a teenage girl trying to lose her virginity. And so just talking about like sexuality and awkwardness and connection. I didn't like it as much as Ice Merchants, and I can't compare it to all the other ones because I wasn't able to find them. I think one more of them is available on one of the streamers, so maybe I'll try to check it out before. But I am a big Ice Merchant stan, and that's something that I'm certainly writing hard for.
Okay.
So I wanted to name that.
Ice Merchants in My Year of Dicks. All right, I'm gonna try to find.
Yeah, I think. I was just going to add that I think a couple of these, a couple studios, a couple movie theaters chains do kind of like present these like as like kind of like a one sitting, you can catch them all also. I know I mentioned like the Best Picture Showcase. I'm unsure if AMC still does like kind of where they like group all the animated shorts or the animated or the doc shorts together, but I have seen in the past different chains do that, and so that's like a cool way to
that would be
kind of
so
knock all them
helpful.
out. Yeah, knock all of them out in like one sitting. But this, I could be speaking about a pre-COVID time. They might still not be doing this. So,
and I think a lot of the documentary shorts, which I haven't gotten the chance to watch, a lot of them are available on streamers, I believe. So some of these are ready for watching. I think I've spoken to the one that impacted me the most, as far as at least in the short subject categories. But I imagine you all have seen a lot more of the animated features. I'm curious about your thoughts for that particular category. So we have Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell, Puss in Boots, The Sea Beast Turning Red.
So I'm gonna start with a little negative before I'm sure you guys are gonna take it positive. A little disappointed with this year. Not gonna lie. I was looking at 2021's animated feature lineup. I mean, I thought last year where it was like Encanto, Flea, Luca, which I love, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon, which I also love and feel like is somehow like forgotten. Really loved like that lineup.
This is a good lineup. What are you saying right now?
I think
they're like
one of the weaker ones.
There's one in the list there that I haven't seen, and I think it was the one that I haven't seen is Marcel the Shell.
That's
saw
the same one I haven't seen. Yeah.
Also, there is one of the ones I've seen that I did not adore, but for me, the clear winner is Pinocchio. I loved also The Sea Beast.
I do recall you hyping up The Sea Beast, and I finally did get around to watching The Sea Beast. It is good. Sea Beast is good.
It's really good.
Very strong performances vocally from the two main leads. A very good story. Very How to Train Your Dragon meets Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that's what you described it as. I enjoyed it, but yeah, for me, I feel it is probably going to go to Pinocchio because Del Toro just does things with Pinocchio that
like the story is gorgeous.
It's Pinocchio. It's just
exactly
it's what he does with it is crazy, I think.
Yeah. It's very unique how he does it, and the story is just touching. The entire time I was just like, and like the ending, I was like, wow.
It was great. It was good.
Yeah. I loved Pinocchio. Puss in Boots was also great, don't get me wrong.
Puss in Boots is great as well. And we definitely hyped up Puss in Boots in our chat and in our pod that we did.
That movie was hilarious.
It's not only hilarious.
You guys were on Puss in Boots long before kind of like kept building like this like great box office run that it's been having. You guys were like some of the first on the scene when it came to Puss in Boots.
Actually, our numbers on the Puss in Boots pod are actually really good.
I bet there's
Turning Red is the one where
and that's movie. Where I come in.
Go ahead. Take it, Dr. Rika.
I think Pinocchio is going to win, and that is because he has won the Golden Globes, and he won the BAFTA, and he won, I believe, the Producers Guild Award.
They love him.
Pinocchio is the front runner here, but I love Turning Red. I think an animated story about an adolescent girl having her menstrual cycle and being awkward with puberty and being obsessed with boy bands is like, that was me in the early 2000s. So I think I just have like a personal connection to it, which I recognize a lot of people don't feel the same, thought it was good, but not great. And I disagree because, I certainly felt connected to it. So.
I am with you. That's who I want to win.
I think that my biggest problem with Turning Red is that it was direct to streaming, and I may have connected with it more if it was released on the big screen. So hopefully, it seems like Disney is getting back to doing that with like the big Pixar and Disney kind of like releases, despite a movie like Strange World, which I actually did kind of enjoy, not performing as well.
I enjoyed Strange.
Hold up, did you watch Luca? Did you watch Luca in theaters or streaming? Okay, I'll take enough.
But Luca,
no,
Luca was so moving.
no.
When he's waving away when he's on the train and he's leaving. His best friend.
You watch it on streaming.
That nobody.
It's so good.
Like you had friends and I had buddies. Come on.
Yes, I want
excellency.
I want Turning Red to win, but
yeah, I honestly didn't feel Turning Red as you guys. Like again, I enjoyed it. It's good. All that. I was just like, okay.
It's not for you.
This is not a movie I'm gonna see twice.
I've seen it many times.
I think I watched that thing like 7 times already.
But I am also, I'm going to a boy band concert in May, so I'm in this for life. All right, so it sounds like all of us are thinking Pinocchio is likely.
If you're betting, you gotta go with Pinocchio.
Yeah. It's the safe. I think Turning Red would be the upset, or Puss in Boots.
I would say Puss in Boots.
Yeah. If you want to definitely win money, you should go Pinocchio. It's all our betting, all our degenerate listeners. But if you're trying to like really turn a profit, like bet something with like, not the best odds, and like make a good sum, I think I would go Puss in Boots too. I think that'd be like where you could like actually turn a good profit. So
and the last thing I wanted to mention, we haven't talked about documentary feature. I will say what I feel is potentially a front runner is All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, which will be available on HBO Max after the Oscars. However, I believe some winners have been Fire of Love and Naval Knee have won some of the other awards. So I don't know if it's something that folks are invested in. I've seen some pretty good docs over the years. I'm pretty sure last year's winner was not something I actually wanted to win, though.
The last doc I've watched, I think, was either some serial killer thing on Netflix or a rerun of Planet Earth. And Planet Earth never gets any love. So that's where I am with docs.
All right.
There was one I do want to shout out. So Summer of Soul actually won last year, which I did really like. That is on Hulu. Folks are wanting something to check out. And there was one more that I really liked. Yes, the year that my octopus teacher won, which was 2020, 2021. I really like Time. Time is on Amazon if folks are wanting to watch that. Flea, I believe, is also in Hulu, which was a nominee last year. Also really good and a creative way to kind of go about a documentary.
That wasn't an animated feature.
Yeah, it was in 3 different. So for international feature, I believe, animated feature, and documentary feature.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
So the documentary is animated.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Very interesting.
So yeah, I certainly recommend it. We will see what some winners are. Come Sunday.
That was in that great animated lineup I mentioned last year. Yeah.
No. This one's stronger. No. Moving on.
Alrighty. So we're gonna move on. We have a lot more categories in this one. So this is what I like to call the technical and artistry category. So we're lumping, sorry to all these various different groups, but we got a podcast to run. So we have best original song, best original score, VFX, so special effects, makeup and hairstyling, costume, production design, editing, and sound. So any of the artistic and or technical categories. If y'all have a standout or something you're wanting to mention, now's the time.
All right, look, I'm gonna say this.
Well, I was gonna say something. What are you
about song? Are you talking about song? What are you talking about?
Song, yeah. Song.
Okay, go ahead, because I'm gonna talk about song next. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess I could have mentioned this at the top. One of the things kind of like affecting how I feel about this Oscars is like it feels like my favorite movies. Nope, RRR, The Northman. I think we're all pretty much just like got no nominations except best original song. I think it's Not To.
Yeah.
From RRR.
Yep.
This is like this only like lone representation of like my favorite movies. So I wanted to win so badly. I thought it was easily could have been like a best picture nomination.
RRR was fantastic.
It was so good.
I loved it. I saw it like really late on because I know you guys were saying RRR, and like I put it on my list and I just like forgot. And then like one of these days I was just bored and saying like, this has been sitting on my list for a while. Let me see it. And I was like, damn, 3 hours. Okay. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. I told my dad, you gotta watch this. He called me the next day. This is amazing. Like
it is a commitment, but like,
it is a commitment.
Once you get into it,
yeah.
And
once you
like,
get into the movie, it is such a fun movie. Honestly, I'm surprised it got snubbed. And also, I agree with you with The Northman. I adored The Northman.
Yeah. I love The Northman too. And just nothing for The Northman.
Yeah,
nothing for no nominations.
That did surprise me. And wait, if we're talking about the technical, that means I think like score. I think it is.
Yeah. So song, score, special effects, makeup, hairstyling, costume, production design, editing, sound.
Wait, hold up.
Score? I think one that got snubbed that I liked the score a lot. The Batman.
I also really like that score.
Like the Batman, the score, like it is frightening. Like you just feel like Batman's creeping up on you the entire movie. And I'm surprised they snubbed it. And honestly, like I adored the Batman. And for me, it was one of the best movies of the year. But I may be biased, but I adore that movie.
Let me say this real quick. Because gosh, y'all gonna make me talk about the Batman. Hoover TV, did you finish your song bit?
Not to. I want RRR to like win something, and this is kind of the only thing it's like up for. So I really hope it walks away with this award. And I think it's kind of like this kind of roundabout way to like celebrate the movie because the song is like featured in the scene where they're like dancing, and it's this really kind of like it's really like a moment in the movie that it kind of like transcends kind of like what it's doing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like outlandish, and it's kind of like really big, and you're just kind of like, for a second you might be like, wait, what's happening? They're just doing a dance off, but it totally works. And at the end, it like hits you with like this great moment where like one of the characters like decides to take a fall to make the other character like look better in front of like the girl he's attracted to, and it's so heartwarming and nice. So it's like giving this award to RRR here for this song, I think kind of like is like not only awarding it for the song, it's like awarding it for like the movie,
recognizing the movie.
Yeah, so that's how
I agree. Like Natu was my personal pick too.
All right, I will say it did win the Golden Globe, and it did win the Critics' Choice. So
but it wasn't nominated for anything else, which makes me think maybe people aren't into this. They haven't seen it. I don't know. It's weird. It's like in a weird spot here.
They saw the song though, which I'm sure you could probably look up the song on YouTube.
Maybe that's what
boosted it.
Spotify.
I'm gonna tell
you have something to say.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm fine with about song. I'm fine with any of these because I'm not truly invested. However, if I would like to see anything win, I guess it would be Lift Me Up as a tribute. I would like to see some love towards Lift Me Up, and I haven't seen as much. But I'm gonna talk about some snubs real quick. I'm sure Dr. Rika will agree. The fact that nothing from the Turning Red soundtrack is on here is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I cannot get behind that. Not one bit.
We need more fun. Like, honestly, Natu is like the only fun song on here in terms of like a performance at the Oscars. And
yeah, we're gonna see that perform. That'll be fun.
Because that's the thing. Rihanna's gonna look great, you know. She'll sound great. She'll look beautiful, wonderful. Lift Me Up is boring. I'm sorry, Riri. It's boring. Okay. I know you're having the second baby. I don't know if we're ever gonna get some new music, and that's not your priority right now. And Auntie was a masterpiece, but Lift Me Up it's boring.
It's a tribute.
I know it's a tribute, but it's a boring one. And I'm just saying that the soundtrack of the first Black Panther was really, really good. And so I was really disappointed with this one. And while I will enjoy Rihanna's performance, we have to be honest about the song. It's not her best.
Dr. Rika is saying the quiet part out loud right now.
I'm just saying.
I think we all collectively felt the same.
I still haven't listened to the soundtrack.
When the song dropped,
honestly, if you talk to me about Black Panther 2 and no, like I don't remember actually any of the music there. Like I remember more like the Creed soundtrack. Granted, it was a lot more recent, but I was like jamming out to that more than any of the Black songs of the Black Panther. You can put it on right now, and I'm gonna say like, where's that from?
Yeah, this one was not as
like that. It wasn't memorable. And again, same as Dr. Rika. I love Rihanna, but
love her, the queen.
Yeah,
got it.
She is like
okay,
but no.
It was almost like a kind of like an obligation. They said we have to nominate this song.
Like tribute or not tribute, it doesn't deserve to win.
I'm okay with it winning. I'm sure Natu will take it. I'm gonna give you one more snub, and you can disagree with this. I don't know the Lady Gaga song from Top Gun.
I do actually know that one.
I think the One Republic song from Top Gun from the beach scene is a better song from that movie. I ain't worried about it right now. Keep your dream alive. You know the little that. That song snub. That is the better song from Top Gun Maverick. That
I like
song
Hold My Hand.
Hold My Hand.
I don't know it. Oh, that's the one that played it over the credits, right?
Yes, some dramatic 80s situation.
Care. It's pandering. There's like it's Lady Gaga, we got a nominator. It's Rihanna's tribute, we got a nominator. There are some things they can't get away with.
And guess who's back for nominees too? Diane Warren. She's never gonna stop.
For what? What's she nominated for?
I believe she is the Applause nominee.
She hasn't.
Like,
she's
never
before,
won.
Right?
She's never
won. Oh
yes.
my goodness. Yeah.
Whew.
I mean, yeah, a legend. All right, to switch gears a little bit because I do want to spotlight something before we get to
we have a lot of categories here. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Other things you want to highlight?
I want to highlight Babylon. I know, also kind of like and I understand, like, it's a bit of, I could see people having mixed reactions to
You talking
Babylon.
score for Babylon?
No, for me, Babylon out of those is in the score. I think for me, it's the winner.
Oh, so the score, you're so right. The score is great. I was thinking like production design. I thought like that movie like looked and felt like so vivid.
Oh yeah, and the costumes
like,
too.
cool.
I got in the costumes. I have them as winners.
Yeah, no, I think like with I don't know, like that opening party scene, I felt like that captured like early 1900s partying and excess and just like debauchery, like better than Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby.
Oh,
I mean, like
yes.
those opening.
Wait a minute. How dare you?
No, yes.
What do you
There's
mean?
a Baz Luhrmann entry here. And you're telling me production?
Hey.
Oh no.
Hey, I'm sorry. I
think Elvis did a great job. You didn't buy into the production of
production. When I think of production, I think like getting sucked in. I felt sucked into Babylon scenes, like productions. Like, I mean, even like the the whole scene where they're like on the set that first day.
I did not watch Babylon, so.
Okay, well, all right. Well,
I have to take your word for whatever you're saying right now.
There's like this just like amazing scene where like, it's a like kind of production set. But it's just done in such a cool and like
I know what scene you're talking about.
Eye-opening way. Yeah, it's just like it's kind of still early in the movie.
You're talking about. The movie,
yeah,
like honestly, yeah, it does have its bad things, but when it comes to like score, the production design, it is top.
Wow, so y'all trying to give this to Babylon? These
I want to spotlight it here because it wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
No,
it wasn't. You're right.
I wouldn't have nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
that
it doesn't
movie
deserve
has other
it.
problems that would not make me nominated.
Doesn't deserve it.
Voter.
Neither did
I
that La La Land. Damien Chazelle's overrated.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't think that's accurate. I'm not
except for
even,
Whiplash.
I'm,
Except for Whiplash. Except for Whiplash.
Look, I'm not even a Chazelle fan, and that is inaccurate. I think he is
Except
actually really
for
talented.
Whiplash.
His first 4 movies are Whiplash, La La Land,
Don't care.
The First Man, and Babylon.
You can stop at
whether
Whiplash.
you're mixed on a couple.
You can stop at Whiplash.
That's an incredible starting for.
You can stop.
Incredible starting for.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Elvis for production. Elvis.
I just saw Elvis last night. I liked Elvis.
I wasn't crazy about it.
I liked stuff about Elvis, but I mean, the production design, the costuming, I mean, it was good. It's probably worth a nomination, but
Let me tell you why Elvis works really well. It's because Baz did not go 100% Baz. And
I would actually say he did.
I think 100% Baz was not this. I think this felt like 80% Baz. This was not great.
See that a little. I did see that a little bit. Him at his like all out kind of ridiculousness is,
Great
early
Gatsby.
I would say Moulin Rouge is.
Moulin Rouge is probably peak Baz.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like Romeo and Juliet. I guess
this world.
but I really like what they did with Elvis. I think they did a really good job with Elvis as far as production of the Las Vegas scenes.
Maybe costuming. I think they did a really good job with making Austin Butler, and I think it plays into like what I might be saying about him during our Best Actor conversation. But he did really look and feel, and I don't know if he look and felt like Elvis. I don't really know Elvis like that, but he did really look and feel like
he was given Elvis. He was given Elvis.
Yeah, like when the girls were going crazy for him, you bought it. Like when he had like that little hair piece early on, like that little piece of hair like stringing down his face
curl
over his eyes.
Antonio,
And
I mean, Dr. Mondo, do the Superman curl real quick.
I think
I was, I was like, oh, I get it. You know, I think I was like alone in the theater, and I was like, oh, I get it. Looked to my left, and I was like, yep, you see it, I see it, and you know, and I think, and it's like, and I think that goes to like the costume, the makeup, you know, kind of like they were making him work. They were making him grow.
I was only gonna give it production. If you're talking costume and makeup, I think it'd be really cool if Black Panther takes it for a second time.
I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, as I've discussed in other pods, but
I just think it'd be cool. I'm pretty indifferent to these categories. I think if you want to talk, you know, Dr. Mondo brought up the Batman. I think yes, Batman got snubbed for score because again, taking a well-established franchise and trying to make it your own, that's hard to do. Michael Giacchino did a great job. However, I also give Batman the points for makeup and hairstyling. Look at freaking Colin Farrell.
Yes.
Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He could win that alone just for that.
Oh, yeah. Like Batman, it's like when it comes to the costume, it's Batman, Babylon. Like those are my two.
Oh, Batman doesn't have costume nomination.
Wait, no, it's not.
Yeah,
wait,
it's just makeup hairstyling for the Batman.
Oh, then yeah, I do have them. Yeah, they're mine. I put Batman as makeup. Yeah, I'm seeing all my entire list here.
I will say some things that we have.
We can move on after this. I was just gonna say that, like, you know, I thought the makeup with, like, you know, with Elvis, you know, they captured, you know, young cut, like, girls go crazy Elvis early on, but then, you know, they kind of got the puffy faced kind of later on in the movie when Austin Butler started looking a little tubby in the face. I was like, oh wow, they did a good job, you know. So I'll just say that too. And for Elvis possibly taking makeup and hairstyle, hair and makeup, yeah.
Things we haven't mentioned. So sound, it's interesting because in this category we have war films tend to be pretty popular, and we have like 1.5. I don't know what you categorize Top Gun as. But then I think Elvis, being that there is that kind of musical element, there some folks may be swayed with that. And then Batman, I think too, with depending on, I think some of the car chases, etc. So that'd be interesting to see what takes. And we haven't really mentioned film editing. I'm pretty partial to Everything Everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
As far as film editing, I think
is that across the board? Are we unanimous? Editing?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think I would go editing. Yeah, I'd go editing.
It did win. Which one was it? It may have been the BAFTAs. Yes, it did win the editing BAFTA. Just if folks were interested in knowing that, and then visual effects, Avatar.
Oh, that's like
yes.
All right, remember me saying Everything Everywhere should win Best Editing as I start coming for it later on in our conversation. So remember, I was nice to it early on. So
yeah, sound for me is Batman.
Sound is tough. And yeah, sound and visuals. I usually lump these together. Sound, I might give it a Top Gun.
Top Gun is great. Yeah, Top Gun and Batman are for me the big ones when it comes to sounds, because again I was just like blown away like in the movie theater, just like whoa. I
wish I watched Top Gun in theaters, and I hate myself for having not.
Yeah. It was great in theaters.
My 7 did not suffice.
I loved All Quiet. No, didn't love. I liked All Quiet on the Western Front. But you know what makes that movie work, in my opinion, is like kind of the sound. You know, the sound, the cinematography. I mean, like there's like a couple. It's definitely like one of those technical movies that I was like, rather than being moved by, I was like more impressed technically. You know, the sound, and then like I don't even know if I loved the score, but there was like this like it kept going back to like this certain like couple notes like throughout this movie. It was like this really loud kind of like in your face note, and it kind of like I think tied into like the war and kind of the gruesomeness of it. So, you know, I don't know if I'm necessarily rooting for it here, but I definitely, if I'm like thinking about who could win, I might be leaning towards All Quiet on the Western Front in one of these categories.
I think what sways me against like that, and it's possibly that that movie didn't come out in theaters. It was only on Netflix, right?
Netflix, yep.
So I think that sways a lot, like influences a lot, because I'm pretty sure if I would have seen All Quiet on the Western Front in theaters, I also would have been blown away, because the movie does have, does that very well.
War dramas, I think, should be watched in.
And it's funny you said that, because I did see it in theaters. Yeah, it was like it was like playing at one of the
because I saw it on
local cinema. Yeah, and I did feel that like in the theater. I was like, whoa, like this is something. So
can I just ask?
I could see it winning there.
Has anybody seen the original? Y'all know this is a remake.
I haven't seen the original.
Well, it's based off of a book.
Well, there's an original too, though.
There have been 3. This is the 3rd remake.
This is the 3rd?
Sorry, the 2nd. So the 3rd film based off of this book.
Oh, damn. I don't even know which one I watched then.
Yeah, it's another adaptation. I don't know if they're remaking the movie. I think it could just be like, looking
this
at the
changes
book
everything, because I was like, I don't even know if I care to watch it.
And then there's the original film, there's another film, and then there's this one.
And I think the thing is that makes it interesting, I think, is that, I think the first 2 are made by American filmmakers. This was the first one that was made by German filmmakers, and is like all in German. It's spoken and
come out. Did y'all watch it in German?
They're like
I watched it in German.
Yeah. Also, did you not?
Oh no. Well, I didn't. So I knew it was German made, and then I put it on Netflix, and they tried me by giving me English. And I was like, why is this in English?
Wow.
Yeah, you have to manually switch it. I was like,
geez,
honestly, like German shows and German movies, not gonna lie, they're really good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not opposed to watching things in German. I was just like, I ain't trying to watch these mouths not match up with the English dialogue.
Default to English. That sounds weird, but and the book's German too. I don't know if we mentioned that. It's like written by a German author pre-Nazi Germany. I think it was like banned by the Nazis because it was
sounds
like anti-war, and so it's I think it like the way it's like rooted in German history. I think kind of like, in my opinion, I won't be able to like pinpoint exactly how, but like I think it made it kind of feel more accurate, more in line
authentic.
Yeah, more authentic. We'll say that. I like that. So
I'm just gonna say the Oscars do love a good war movie.
They do.
It was nominated multiple times in different categories, which I think I'm gonna actually shift us, because it makes sense, because it was nominated for Best International Feature, and that will move us towards writing, cinematography, and international feature. So adapted screenplay, original screenplay, cinematography, and international feature are all fair game. So y'all can continue this conversation, but I wanted to.
Well,
I'm terrible with international films. First and
international,
foremost.
I'm gonna put like All Quiet on the Western Front, because honestly, I think that was the only one I saw on that list, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's gonna win. Period.
I just want to get I was just gonna get my snubs out of the way before we get into these. RRR should have been an international. Don't know how it's not. I don't know if
I was thinking that too.
Nominated
I was confused.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think someone had mentioned, I'll look it up to verify, but one of the films that folks felt like it should have been nominated was not actually even submitted.
Yeah, because for our listeners, for whatever reason, sounds stupid to be honest when you say that out loud.
India
the Academy. Wow, that's crazy. The Academy requires each country to submit one movie to be up for to be possibly an international feature. So every country.
Puerto Rico submitted one.
Yeah, it's just it's a good question. It's dumb, but it could have led to RR being snubbed here, but I wanted to mention whether it was because the Academy didn't vote for it or, as it sounds like, they weren't submitted, snubbed here, either way. And then I think for Best Original Screenplay, I mean, I loved Nope. I thought this writing of Nope was just fantastic in terms of like, we've been talking, a lot of people have been talking about the creativity of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I thought the creativity of like Nope screenplay and how it was just like, tying in these like bigger themes and just how original it kind of was with like the alien. If I could have got it in one thing, it would have been Best Original Screenplay to see. And, I think Jordan Peele, the previous Best Original Screenplay winner for Get Out,
yes.
Pretty positive about that.
No, he did. He won.
Yeah. And so the fact that he didn't even like get to like, not necessarily defend his title here, but the fact that he didn't get nominated here and Nope got completely snubbed all the way around, another disappointment. But anyways, wanted to get those off before we get into the actual.
Well, talking about we're in cinematography, right?
Yep.
No.
So cinematography, international features, and both.
Talk about another stuff.
Nope could have easily been nominated for cinematography.
Yeah.
Easily.
I don't understand. The movie was pretty popular. I think it had a pretty good box office run. Nothing crazy. It wasn't like a Get Out kind of phenomenon, but
I mean, the whole movie's about cinematography. It's all about getting a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What a missed opportunity.
So weird.
That's
so
terrible.
weird. I don't
like Nope.
Yeah,
I am surprised that Nope was snubbed because Nope was. I found it to be very inventive for a very cliche topic that is like the aliens, they're abducting everyone. That you're like, oh, we've seen this 1,000 times before, and how it flipped it on its head. It was like, okay, this is really cool. I enjoyed Nope a lot, so I'm surprised it got snubbed. When it comes to my original, I think I put Banshees.
Wait, tell me what Banshees for? What? Wait, we're not on original because original's big 6, right?
No, original. Right now, we're talking about original screenplay, adapted screenplay, cinematography.
Okay.
Yeah, original screenplay.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait. Let me see again.
I'm sorry. It's got to go to everything.
Ain't
no film like that film.
Now I just read
a film like that film in the next 20 years. There's no way.
Yeah, wait. Now I read the entire list, and it seems that I have like an episode of dyslexia and didn't see everything. Yeah.
You better change it now. You better change it now.
Yeah.
The thing is,
once I saw everything, that's it.
This is a really good, I think, set of nominations, in my opinion. Because I think Tar is really well written. Like,
here goes your Tar raid. The Tar raid starts now.
I'm just saying, it was really well written. Kind of the dialogue in that movie from beginning to end is really just like some like high wire stuff.
I agree. I agree with that.
And I think Banshees in kind of an opposite way, where it's like rather than doing, going for like this like high-minded kind of like intellectual kind of like, Cate Blanchett's like in a class of herself in terms of what like, her like monologues and stuff. Banshee's a lot more quieter. It's like there's a lot less being said, like I think per word per minute, but like
there's more of a human element to Banshees.
Yeah, and it's like, but like there's less being said, but everything being said is important. And I know screenplay is more than just the dialogue, but just like focusing on that in those two movies, I think, I don't know. It's like really well written in very different ways looking at those two.
Yeah, for international feature, sort of feels like All Quiet on the Western Front, maybe the front runner. Argentina, 1985 won the Golden Globe, but All Quiet has won. It won at the BAFTAs for film not in the English language. It also won something else that I'm probably missing. Actually, at Critics' Choice, RRR won for Best Foreign Feature. But it does feel like All Quiet, maybe edging a little bit. But I can potentially see Argentina in 1985 just because it had been mentioned in one something in the past. But something to bring about. But I haven't seen all of them because my favorite international feature that was snubbed was Decision to Leave. Yeah.
Yes, we should shout out Decision to Leave.
So
that's also
to mention that as a snub. And then cinematography. I liked Tar's cinematography, to be honest with you. And it has won. So just throwing that out there as something that has taken it. But very quickly, let me make sure that I get the right. Was it Critics' Choice? Nah, the Independent Spirit Awards. I gave Tar the cinematography award. So just for some history. But I love screenplays. Those are two of my favorite categories historically. Of the 10 that are nominated across both original and adapted, I've seen all but one, which is Living. So I can't speak to it. I don't think it's a front runner anyway. But as far as original screenplay, I am leaning Banshees, but could see Everything Everywhere potentially creeping in. Both of them have shared awards. So Banshees won the Golden Globe. I believe also won the BAFTA original screenplay. But the Writers Guild gave it to the Daniels for original screenplay for Everything Everywhere. And then Independent Spirit also gave screenplay to the Daniels. So I could see Everything Everywhere edging in out Banshees of Inisherin, but Banshees of Inisherin feels very Oscar-y. Like I think they like
that is tough.
Martin.
Here's the thing before we move off original screenplay, Tony Kushner, like legendary writer of, I guess both screenplays, but also, like plays like for Broadway and stuff. Angels in America, I believe is his like 90s, big work that was, exploring, the AIDS crisis in America. Anyways, also wrote, I think, Lincoln. So he's been really tied with, Spielberg for a bit. I don't think he's ever won an Oscar yet. So I think, there could be a contingent that's like really interested in getting The Fabelmans like this best original screenplay also. So this category, maybe out of all of them, unsure about Triangle Sadness's status, but I think this one could go in a lot of different directions.
I would say The Fabelmans and Triangle of Sadness feel the least likely of the five, despite Tony's power. I think Banshees and Tar feel maybe the more, the only word that's coming up is like sophisticated in terms of like, you expect films like that probably to get nominated in original screenplay, whereas Everything Everywhere feels fresher in comparison. So I see why it's kind of racked up some awards, but I feel like the other two feel a little less likely in comparison. But that's kind of where I stand.
I'm gonna say this.
No, to your point. Oh. All right, I'll go quickly. To your point, okay. Dr. Rika, I think a lot of times like the original screenplay, especially, usually feels like the hipster pick. You know what I mean? Where it's like. This is actually my favorite movie, so I'm going to use this award to give it to it. And then we'll save the best picture for the most Oscar-y movie. Mm-hmm. So, and I think if you look at the history of the best original screenplay, you can kind of see a lot of that in the past. So you're saying Grandmaster Hoop?
So, y'all brought up Banshees and Tar. I think those two films are films that if you don't have a good screenplay, there is no film. Those films ride on the backs of their screenplay, which is why, though, I'm going to give it to Everything Everywhere, because that's not a film that visually it looks like it builds off of its screenplay, but its screenplay adds so much to the overall film experience of itself. And I'm just going to point out the one scene that I think really solidifies it is just the ending of the film, where she's talking to Jobo Tupaki in another realm because she cannot reach her in the bagel, but because they can feel everything everywhere all at once. She's talking to her. See, it's even complicated even saying it. But that scene I thought was so well done. And to write that scene is kind of crazy to kind of put to words, to paper and pencil. And that is why I'm hoping it pulls away with the win. Because that is a layered screenplay right there. That is a very difficult, I think that is a very difficult screenplay to write.
Yeah, I think the scene that stands out to me is the one in the parking lot near the end as well.
Yeah, that one, that same one.
Yeah. So, particularly, I think it's actually making the rounds on Twitter as well, and as far as people just pointing out like when they knew like, oh, Michelle is in this, and so it does feel like Banshees and Tar feel kind of like punchy. Like I think some of the dialogue felt like this is like, yes, give this to an actor and let them run with it.
That is a great way to describe it.
Yeah,
that's actually
I think everything everywhere. There was more that felt connecting to me in some of the dialogue, and in some of the way that scenes were set up. That it felt like I felt more emotionally invested, and I talked about on the movie review of 2022 that Banshees and Tar were in my top 5 movies of the year. So I obviously very much like those movies, but I think there's something about what Everything Everywhere gave me that I just felt a little bit more connected just emotionally to the story, to the characters, and then ultimately because of the dialogue, because of the screenplay, to the acting as well. So thoughts on adapted screenplay?
We're just talking about how close the original screenplay was, and like
this one can't be close.
Maybe in different directions. Do you have a front runner? I don't even know if I have a front runner.
I don't really have a front runner, but if I'm to give it to anything, this is the only thing Rian Johnson is nominated for Glass Onion. I thought that was a really good screenplay. So I guess I'm leaning towards Glass Onion, but oddly enough, I'm also leaning towards Top Gun because Top Gun moved me in a way that I never thought I would be moved. And I don't even know how Top Gun. I guess it's adapted because it's a sequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't watched. I've seen the original All Quiet. Living and Women Talking, I can't talk about those, so I'm leaning towards Glass Onion. If they could give it a Top Gun, I wouldn't be mad because I don't think, other than the technical stuff, I don't think Top Gun's probably gonna get any kind of other service to it. So
yeah, I think I would like to give it to Top Gun. Like I saw All Quiet, I saw Top Gun, I saw Glass Onion, liked all 3. But yeah, like Top Gun, the thing is that I went into movies just expecting an action film and was blown away by Top Gun. Like I saw the original Top Gun, I liked it, but it's not.
Oh, I think this one's leagues better than the original.
No, yeah. Like I saw the original Top Gun, I liked it. This is the movie that launched Tom Cruise, and I was just like, okay, this is just a fun movie on
testosterone.
Yeah. On a Saturday night that I don't have anything to do, and then like, oh my god, this movie's fantastic, and it just blew me away. So I would like Top Gun to win that.
Likely front runner is Women Talking. It is.
I think so too.
I didn't see Women Talking, so that's why.
Women Talking. Yeah. That's about Harvey.
No,
that's the other. There's another film called She
I think it's
Said.
like in like.
I thought you were gonna make.
Yeah.
It's like in
a joke
about Pilgrim Society, and like the women are. I think
it's so. It's based off a book. And
which is based off of something real.
Yeah, the book is based off of something that actually did happen. But Sarah Polley, who's the writer-director, won the Writers Guild as well as the Critics' Choice for Adapted Screenplay. Sorry, my cat is very invested, I guess, in this conversation. So it's likely All Quiet won the BAFTA, but All Quiet also won a lot of awards at the BAFTA. So I don't know how indicative of that.
That I did know.
Maybe Women Talking is the front runner. because it's definitely on the front runner for Best Picture.
What are they talking about?
So, a brief synopsis is it is a community, a pretty conservative community based off of kind of a religion, whereby the women are gathering together because the men are currently not in the community after a series of sexual assaults to discuss like the men have been lying about what has been going on, and we have to decide if we're going to stay in this community and continue to be abused, or if we leave, or if we fight back. And so it is about these women gathering together and having a conversation about how they move forward with their lives. And the cast is pretty stacked. I'll say more of my feelings about it when we get near Best Picture. But the writing's good. I think the screenplay's solid. I listed there, it's not my favorite, but
I'll add there that it's it's very kind of squared off. It's like usually just taking place in like a room where they are talking. It's aptly named. And also I think the cast is really good, but because they're all kind of so good, in my opinion, I think some people might say like Jesse Buckley, but in my opinion, like I think they all, I don't want to say like cancel each other out, but like they're all kind of like holding their own, and it kind of leads to there not being quite like an obvious leader. And I think it keeps the focus on the dialogue between them. And so when you're thinking about like screenplay, I think dialogue's like a easy place to kind of go to and think about. And so, I could see, when people are thinking about like women talking and maybe wanting to honor it, I think, the screenplay was really good. The dialogue was really good. I could see some of the voters doing that, even though I think I would agree. I don't love all of the ones listed here. I still have not seen Living. But I love Kazuo Ishiguro. I read Clara and the Sun. I think that was 2 years ago, maybe. And that was a fantastic book. So I do love his writing, but I have not seen Living, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah, I guess like it's not like I like Glass Onion, like Top Gun, like All Quiet to an extent, like The Woman Talking to an extent, but there's not a clear one where I'm like really rooting for, or even really feel strongly about that in the way that I do about pretty much most of the ones in Best Original Screenplay.
Ooh, that one's up in the air then.
Well, we're going to go ahead.
Very up in the air.
We've got some good categories that we haven't talked about yet. We've alluded to, I think, some of our thoughts throughout. So this, may or may not make this conversation quick. But we're going to move to acting and direction. So supporting actress, supporting actor, lead actress, lead actor, best director. Have at it.
All right. Okay.
Let's start with support.
Supporting actor, right?
We can start with supporting actor.
Sure. I think we can all agree on supporting. Maybe. Let's try.
Key.
1, 2, 3.
Key.
Hee Kwan.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. All right.
Hold up.
Feels like the first unanimous.
No, that's like our second unanimous. I'm just gonna say.
I'm
gonna say this real quick. The only thing I haven't seen for supporting is Causeway. So I think it's really cool that Brian is nominated, and he's the only black actor other than Angela that's nominated. So I noticed that. I
will say Brian Tyree Henry should have been nominated for If Beale Street Could Talk for a electrifying 9 minutes. Genuinely, they hit the scene. He's at this dinner table having a conversation with the lead. That is like a masterclass in acting. So just want to shout him out as well. But yes, Kiwi Kwan is winning his Oscar, and his entire campaign has been a delight. So I look forward to his speech on Sunday.
Oh yeah, every time I see like a TikTok featuring Key, I'm getting emotional every time he talks about. I haven't seen Harrison Ford in all these years. I haven't seen Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg gave me a standing ovation. I'm like, geez, man.
Don't you do an accent?
I didn't do an accent.
I heard it slipping out. Maybe it was like subconscious. I promise you, I heard your geeky quad. The way you said like Steven Spielberg.
He said Steven. Okay, whatever. I don't think I did. Okay.
Yeah, it was slipping out. It was slipping out.
Well, we feel it's unanimous as far as this feels like probably the biggest lock of the night.
I'm gonna say this real quick though about supporting. I think this was wrong. Take Judd Hirsch out. Put Seth Rogen's name into the mix. For the
really big Seth Rogen fan. Okay, all right.
I think he did a great job. It didn't feel like I was watching Seth Rogen at times.
It's a weird role.
I was
because you don't feel you walk away hating that guy.
Correct.
Right.
Somewhat. Yes. So, absolutely.
I don't think there was enough there for me to say he's a nominee.
Yeah.
I don't think there was enough there for Judd Hirsch.
The Fabelmans is a weird movie. The more I think about it and the more I get away from it, the more I'm just like, was it a really sad movie? You know? I don't know. I guess we'll talk about that in Best Picture.
All right. We'll move forward to Best Supporting Actress.
Oh, okay. This one's so tough.
This one is tough.
All of these all the folks listed here, I think, except for Hong Chau, have won something.
Hong Chau was really good in The Whale. By the way, I am a fan of The Whale.
This is the first time we mentioned The Whale tonight.
I really liked that movie. Like, I really felt it was gripping.
Was it because of Hong Chau, though?
Hong Chau does a really good job, though. Like, I think everyone in that movie does a really good job. The acting in the movie is really freaking good. Because, like, you see her, how she's just kind of respecting her friend's wishes, but at the same time, she's eating herself up because he's killing himself. And he's just accepting his death. It's so gripping. And how she's just from like almost saving him from a heart attack. He's like, oh, you need to get help. And then she kind of switches a little bit to promoting those like bad behaviors that he's had that have drove him to the place where he is. And it's just, she's always at odds with herself and with him. It's great. So I'm not sure she would be like my winner.
She's number 5.
But yeah.
And it's not even because she's not talented. I think because the other 4
they're bigger names.
Yeah.
They're bigger names.
Not only bigger names, I think just the movies that they're attached to. The Whale was only nominated for makeup and hairstyling as well as 2 acting awards.
Yeah, like Best Actor.
Yeah, no adapted screenplay.
And kind of like skipping forward, The Whale wins my Best Actor.
Okay.
Don't skip forward. Hold up.
I was gonna say.
We'll stay with supporting.
Yeah, supporting.
Yeah.
I want to hear everybody else. How does everybody else feel about supporting? Where are you guys leading?
All right. Okay. If you're gonna make me choose between Stephanie and Jamie, I'm choosing Stephanie. All the way.
Why doesn't everybody feel that way? I don't understand.
I don't know. That's
that is incredibly, yes, it's incredibly frustrating. She did win, I believe, Breakout at the Independent Spirit Awards. So I'm glad she got something. But the fact that Jamie, and I think it's because of her name, because of who she is, because of her history, because Stephanie was incredible. As far as
you know what? I'm gonna double down here. Stephanie's gives the best performance in that movie. Stephanie, I think,
I would agree,
is the glue that holds everything together.
Yep.
More better than Michelle. You said she's
more than Michelle. Stephanie is she's the heart and soul of that movie. She it is everything. Everything revolves around her. It is Michelle's also super important in terms of like the context of the movie, but like I think really the movie falls apart unless Stephanie, who I saw originally on Marvelous Miss Maisel, is I don't know.
Oh my God, is she the wife on Miss Maisel? I mean, not the wife. The ex-husband starts dating
the new. Yeah.
Wow.
Something I want to point out of why Stephanie is also so vital. I believe who was initially supposed to be in this role is Awkwafina. And that would have completely shifted. I don't think that works at all. And I think Awkwafina in like The Farewell was excellent. It's a great movie. Go watch it. She was really good in that role. I don't think this movie would have worked at all with her in that role.
That is so interesting to hear. Because they were both in Shang-Chi. Stephanie and Awkwafina are both in. Stephanie, Awkwafina, and Michelle are all in Shang-Chi.
Wait, Stephanie. Who's Stephanie in in Shang-Chi? Like
she's just the friend when they go to dinner. They're like, oh yeah, so we went and saved the world, and they're like, sure you did.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
But and the reason why I bring that up is because in the initial, like I said, in the write-up of like, oh, they're at the beginning stages of making this movie from the Daniels, you know, the creators of Swiss Army Man, it was Awkwafina who was tied to this project. And
they really would have been totally different.
The movie, I don't think it would have had a totally different vibe.
Ooh, oh man. I'm not saying I don't think Awkwafina could do the role, but yeah, definitely it's a definite.
I'm saying Awkwafina could not have done the role.
Yeah, no, I don't
and like I said, The Farewell is great. Please go and watch it. She was good at that role. But Stephanie, she is really, really fucking good. It's really criminal that she hasn't really gotten her flowers. In the way that I think a lot of the rest of the cast has in the movie itself, because like what has been said by Hooper TV,
I don't think you got to give Jamie you don't got to give Jamie the nomination. I feel that's like they felt like they owed Jamie a chance to win.
And that's a weird thing. That could be what leads to going somewhere else. Like could Carrie Condon sneak in? And
right, because they're dividing the vote.
Could this be the place that you honor Banshees? I liked her role. I mean, she's definitely supporting.
Yes.
In the sense of like, Stephanie Sue is like supporting, but she's like the heart of the movie, while Carrie Condon's like absolutely on the side. So it's like that weird, like there's levels to supporting.
I'm gonna tell you Carrie Condon's best role ever, and it is not even a movie. It is in Better Call Saul. That is Carrie Condon's best role ever. She's and that's all that needs to be said about Carrie Condon.
Who is she in Better Call Saul?
She's Mike's daughter-in-law.
That sounds so dumb. I mean, she's probably in like what, 5 scenes? The entire series?
She's got a couple of episodes.
And I'm gonna wrap us back around to what we're actually talking about, which is Best Supporting Actress in Films for this year. Angela Bassett felt like the front runner initially. I think because of this power of like, we got to give it to her because we didn't give it to her in the past, and she should have had it. However, this particular category has gone to someone different at pretty much every single show. I think Angela maybe has 2 wins. I believe she won the Critics' Choice as well as the Golden Globe.
She won really early, and it felt like, oh, she's got it. And then started,
up and down
everywhere else. Yeah.
So BAFTAs, Carrie Condon, SAGs, Jamie Lee Curtis.
All right, BAFTAs are biased.
And so Independent Spirit Awards now does non-gendered. So it's just supporting performance and lead performance, and it's just whomever it happens to be nominated. So Kiwi Kwan
had
one. And then Critics' Choice did select Angela Bassett.
I would be ecstatic for Angela to win. If you're gonna give any award to Wakanda Forever, give it to her, because I tell you, I saw you ever see those videos where it's the screenplay below and it's above? I saw that for the Okoye being dismissed scene. The scene that would give Angela Bassett this award, have I not? Let me not do it.
I feel safer than Kiki Kwan for some.
I'm just, all I'm gonna say is that scene, it gave me goosebumps again, and I started tearing up again, because that's the only scene in Wakanda Forever that moved me to tears. was that scene right there.
The Angela Bassett scene?
Correct. I would love for Angela to win, or I would love Stephanie, and that's it. That's it. Anybody else, I'm like,
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. If Angela wins, I wouldn't like. If she's like goes to make her speech, I'd be really happy to hear it. You know, especially with Stephanie. You know, I think the others. I still need to see The Whale. That'll be this weekend project. But Jamie would be the only one where I'd be like, I don't know. I know she's like a legend. You know, she's like a Scream Queen, like the original OG. But just like the whole kind of like Stephanie is also in her movie. So it's like, you know, it feels weird that she would win it instead of her. I think that probably holds me back more than anything.
I would agree.
I would just love to see a 3-way Asian lead supporting sweep, which have never been done.
I'm with you. I'm not against that. It would be cool if it was like all the different movies, you know.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. Yes, that would be cool.
It all be in the same movie, you know. It doesn't, I think, diminish it in a way. It doesn't like cancel it out, but I think it diminishes it in a way. So even though they're all really well deserving, and in another year I would definitely be rooting for them all, because I'm definitely rooting for Ki Kwan. I think I'm rooting for Stephanie, but not to transition. I don't know if I'm rooting.
Actress in the lead role.
I don't know if I'm rooting for.
You need to stop.
Michelle.
You need to stop.
I don't know if I'm rooting for Michelle. I don't.
You're terrible. You're bad. Take. Go ahead. Finish your take. Why? What? Cate Blanchett just felt like Cate Blanchett. It just felt like Cate Blanchett. I buy Cate Blanchett being this, you know, this correct me if I'm wrong, is the term dom. She's a dom. She puts people in their place. She makes people like, and you know what? And I love the scene where Olga, homegirl from Russia, totally just goes out and pays no attention to Tar. I said, that's what you get, bitch. You're mean. And Krista, you don't even care about Krista. You don't even care about your assistant. And see, I'm saying all these things, and that means I'm buying into the performance. But it's
worse. I mean, it's kind of like become like a really big thing, like where people just like treat Lydia Tar like she is a real person. And it's hard to tell when it's a bit and it's, or like people are being serious. Like, I think it's like, there's like, I think there were actually people who left being like, wow, that Lydia Tar really was something. You know what I mean? Like,
and let me just say, I only called her the B word because that is what she portrays on screen.
Nice save.
Thank you.
I think, you know, it's like weird to kind of like think about it in like a sports context, but like, and I may have mentioned this in our end of the year pod, like going to the movies to watch Tar, and like I think I saw it like a bigger screen. I don't know if it was an IMAX screen, but it was like a bigger screen. It really felt like I was watching like Michael Jordan, LeBron James in like game 7 of like the NBA finals, drop like 60 points and have a triple double. It was really like, just like
all from Cate Blanchett.
Yes, all from like, she's like,
I mean, yes, like she carries the movie. Yes, she does carry the movie. Yes.
She's incredible when she's like when she's schooling that kid in the
that was so wrong.
In the classroom, and the camera doesn't cut, and it's just like one long shot, and she's just like, I mean, I was like, couldn't blink. I was just like, couldn't take my eyes off her. It was so mesmerizing. Like, and it's not, you know, I think the difference between like, I think Kate and like Michelle Yeoh is like, who is great. And I know we'll get to her and we'll give her flowers before this conversation ends. It just felt like, you know, there's a lot around Michelle, you know what I mean? In terms of like, you know, the editing and like this, you know, the the colorfulness of everything everywhere, and like the creativity, and you know, kind of like the fun roles she gets to do, you know, as she like, you get glimpses of her in different universes and stuff like that. And there's also these great performances where you're getting Kiki Kwan and like their relationship, and you're getting like the Michelle daughter relationship and her relationship with her dad and stuff. And it's like, I think I don't want to say like there's a lot helping her, but I think when you watch Tar, it just feels like, it's like, I think as you mentioned earlier, it's like, all right, Kate, here's a script. The camera's going to begin rolling and you cook. That's it. And she cooks, and she like makes it like into like this like 5-course extravagant meal where it's just like, whew, it's amazing. And like, you know, similar to you, I left the movie being like, oh yeah, she definitely did that stuff. Nah, she was, you know, the movie doesn't really like explicitly say she does anything. You know, they never explicitly show her like committing any of these crimes, but I left that movie like, nah, she definitely did it. You know what I mean? Because I believed I knew Lydia Tarr. I was like, no, she had to. And so it's tough because I know Kate has won 2 Best Actress awards, and you know, this would be, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this would be the first Asian and to win a lead actress role.
Yeah.
All right, that historical precedent. It's hard to root against.
The second woman of color ever to win.
What? No
Actually,
way.
Halle Berry.
Yes.
Behind Halle Berry?
Yes.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, that
she
is
would be the second.
Jennifer Hudson won supporting.
No, they've all
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson supporting, Octavia
Viola
Spencer
Davis,
supporting, Viola Davis supporting. Oh man, Whoopi Goldberg
All right,
supporting.
So it's hard to root against that and be like, this white woman deserves her third. Man, it was just so good. It was, if there's a white woman who deserves her third.
Kate Blanchett already got her Academy Award. Give it to somebody else.
I will throw flowers at Kate Blanchett for her performance at Tar. It is mesmerizing, as you say. But one of the things that I liked more of Michelle Yeoh's performance, at least in Everything Everywhere All at Once, was that in Tar, it's kind of like what Grandmaster Hoop is saying. I feel like I'm watching Kate Blanchett, and it's very, very, very well acted, but it's like not one-dimensional, but it's like a very specific type of acting, period. Everything Everywhere, what I like is how it fluctuates. You know, it can, like, how Michelle Yeoh is funny, how she can be serious, how she can be charming, and at the same time,
she can be a shitty mom. She could be. It's
not like charming. Like she can be an asshole. She can be a horrible mom, and then touching, heartwarming. It's like how she's able to convey all those emotions in a film. That, in my opinion, is a little bit higher up in my list than what Kate Blanchett did. And again, this is not like shitting on Kate Blanchett at all. Kate Blanchett did an amazing job. And if Everything Everywhere All at Once did not happen, I would have given it without a second thought to Kate Blanchett. But I just felt that it was such a varied, such a all over performance, all around. It just gave me more feelings. And even I think I could feel a little bit more for Michelle Yeoh's character than I did for Lydia Tarr.
Can we throw on to body performance as well? Michelle Yeoh does.
Oh no, but like, okay, like if we're gonna talk body performance, like
Michelle I don't know if that's like part of the acting side.
No, it is like body language is part of it.
What are you conducting? What are you doing?
What are you doing? Are you talking about the body?
Her conducting her.
Yes, it's very intense. It's
right,
very
because
good.
Right, they said, "Hey, Kate, do you need to bring in a stunt double to do this conducting bits?" She's like, "No, I got it." Michelle, do you need a stunt double to do these kick-ass martial arts bits? No, I'm a martial artist. I got it.
As Michelle Yeoh said in I think it was the Golden Globes, right? It's like they were trying to cut her off. I can kick your ass. She actually can.
I think that else. I mean, that's a if it's down to tooth and nail, that is a thing Michelle Yeoh has over Kate Blanchett as well.
I'm countering
everything Dr. Mondo said, and then that too. I'm looking to just give more points to Michelle Yeoh.
I'm countering your her action scenes with the conducting. So we're still equal.
No.
I think what this conversation highlights is it's a 2-horse race between Kate and Michelle. I think it has been from the start.
Can I give a third? Can I give a third?
No, Michelle.
Wait. I'll just add quickly that and I think like lots of people across the country are having like these similar conversations about whether you're like a Kate person or a Michelle person, have been for like the last couple months when it's been clear it's going to be like one of these two. I saw the clip of them hugging at the was it the Screen Actor? I can't remember the award show, but they were hugging at like one of the recent award shows, and it just like seemed really nice and genuine, and it was like I think on the red carpet, so it was like just like pre-awards, and it was just like they seem to be like handling it really well together. So it doesn't seem like it's driving a wedge between them. I think they both respect each other's work. And I think that kind of makes, us our conversations and maybe rooting for somebody in particular more fun when there's not like bad blood between like.
Yeah, we drive the wedge. We are the wedge drivers.
And they're not letting us. They're still hugging each other. And
they need to stop hugging.
It's like the Ronaldo and Messi rivalry, yo. They're
well, just to mention the other 3 performers, we won't spend a lot of time because we have other categories we have not gotten to that we need time for. But Ana de Armas was, people really liked Blonde as far as her performance. I know the movie itself was pretty divisive, but they seem to really, really like Ana. So just
a Razzie nominated Best Picture.
There was Michelle Williams, and that was it.
And so Adria Riseborough, there's some controversy around that. I'm gonna let people Google it.
Oh, she gotta go. She gotta go. No, we're not even gonna give her the time of day. We're not talking about her.
That's what I was just saying. You can Google
Viola Davis.
And that's what I was gonna say. As far as snubs are concerned, Viola Davis. It was pretty disappointing not to see her for what the Woman King.
I saw the Woman King the other I recently saw her like a couple of days ago. She kills the role. I'm surprised she wasn't nominated.
Oh,
I really liked I'm gonna forget the actress's name, but kind of like the lieutenant who's like the older sister.
Lashana Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
She's so good in that movie.
Lashana Lynch had a good 2022.
She would have been more supporting, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
She's great.
We're gonna move on to actor though, because we still have Best Actor, Directing, and Best Picture to get to. So we're making a move to actor in a leading role.
I'll give my flowers to Michelle Williams another time.
Got Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Brendan Fraser, Paul Mescal, and Bill Nighy.
Fraser.
Real quick, Paul Mescal, what did he win? I know he won something.
Did
he win something?
He did not win anything.
Oh, okay, never mind. Take that back.
After Sun did win, I believe, Best First Feature at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Okay.
So
I like that as the Best First Feature. That's
I think that was pretty appropriately selected.
Yeah.
So Dr. Mondo has already said he's pulling for Brendan Fraser. Other folks.
I'm with Dr. Mondo. I haven't seen The Whale.
You haven't seen The Whale?
No, Brendan Fraser. Wow.
I'm moved by his speeches alone. His acceptance speeches.
The thing is that Brendan Fraser, he's been through hell and back, on the real life. And now, he's coming back into Hollywood after all the stuff that happened. And he delivers such an extraordinary performance. I was feeling the entire time for this guy throughout the movie. He's like, he was just pulling at my heartstrings the entire movie. The entirety of the movie. He makes the movie. Because like the movie is not perfect. It's a good movie. It has its flaws. But wow, Brendan Fraser just does such a fantastic job. Such a fantastic job.
You know, I think this, you know, I haven't seen The Whale yet. I will get to it. I still haven't seen Living. I'm on the fence if I'm going to get to that one. But we, you know, I got 3 days left. I just saw Elvis last night, and, you know, depending on how I feel about The Whale and Living, I think I do have Austin Butler in the lead right now. I'm like, I didn't love the movie. And this is once again comes back to like, you know, being the heart of the movie. Like that movie's nothing unless Austin Butler is as electric as he is in that movie. You know, I think the movie completely falls apart without his energy and like the believability that he, you know, is like this Elvis-like figure who can like, you know, electrify crowds, who can like move through the black parts of Memphis and like be in these jazz clubs and still be like respected because he's doing cool stuff, you know.
He's doing black music.
You know, yeah, but like, you know, they were kind of into it, which I kind of was into.
Well, no, that's I think, I mean, this is more best picture talk, but yes, that was a credit to the film. I think the film did that part quite nice.
And I think, what I really respected Baz Luhrmann for is that he kind of let that part like cook. It wasn't like, you know, it opened with like, yeah, he went to a black church one time and he loved black music ever since. It was like, no, it was like a deep part of his childhood. And then even as he was like starting out, like he was like really into it. And, you know, it kind of like kept coming back to that, you know. Yeah. He kind of cries when Martin Luther King dies, and, you know, some might think that's like a little much, but, you know, hey, overall, I was really like, in terms of, you know, biopic performances, this one worked for me in a way that I can't even remember the last one.
Okay, I got you
close.
No, okay. Because I think the last musical biopic were the actor
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the thing. I think I like this performance better.
I was gonna say I think I like Austin Butler better than Rami Malek.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Rami Malek more.
I liked Austin Butler better than Rami Malek, and I liked Taron Egerton better than both of them.
Ooh!
I still haven't seen Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, absolutely.
Taron Egerton, who sang the entire. I think there's something to that. I think
authenticity.
Austin Butler was good. I think he's the best part of a movie that I thought was all right. I didn't find it to be anything particularly special. I think he was.
Electric.
I will say, as far as statistics, I believe it was either 16 or 17 was the last time that all original like characters won, and before that I think it was like 1996. So pretty much every year the Oscars like to give an award to somebody playing someone real. They really like that shit. They really like it.
Wait, didn't Johnny Cash win? Who's Johnny Cash?
Well, I'm saying that there's very
always
rare.
been a winner within the four.
There's always been a winner within the four where someone is playing
17?
someone real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's
99?
16 or 17, and then like 96 was the last.
Someone always wins for playing a real life person.
Yeah, one of the four actors, at least one of them, is someone that is a biopic.
Oh, interesting statistic. Wow, I never even thought to think about that.
The Academy really likes rewarding people playing real people.
Oh, wow.
And I think that gives Austin an edge.
He's the only one, right?
Yeah. Of the five, I am actually a fan of Colin's performance.
I also like Collins, yes.
I was like, Colin Hive. He won the Golden Globe. It feels like that's likely all that he will win because
it was comedy.
It does well, mainly because I think it's Austin is likely the lead. Brendan Fraser might kind of slip in there. I think because he has popped up a couple times in terms of the SAGs, which is a big deal. He did win, as well as the Critics' Choice, I believe. Brendan Fraser is the winner. So there's the possibility that we could get Brendan Fraser as a winner. But I think Austin Butler right now is like just a little, a hair ahead.
I want Brendan Fraser to win. He deserves it.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna say the
for
same
his
thing.
performance and just like everything he's gone through. It's like he deserves it. And Hooper TV, if you like your sentiment of like Austin Butler kind of carrying Elvis, which I do share, don't get me wrong. If you feel that sentiment and that's what's driving you to think that Austin Butler is like the number one, watch The Whale.
I'm gonna get to it.
Watch The Whale. It's the same, like it's the same sentiment. The only thing that Brendan Fraser just like melted my heart in that movie.
I'm gonna say this about Austin Butler. Same thing I said with Michelle. Body performance is everything too. I truly believe not only the voice and the acting alone, but him on stage doing the Elvis bit. I really believed it.
And he has been keeping it up.
Yeah,
in the campaign too. He's from California, people. He's from California.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I believe that's him doing his Elvis voice.
He's doing the Elvis voice.
You think it's him doing the Elvis voice?
Yes, he's from California.
I don't know.
Sound like that.
I never heard him speak.
Yes, you have.
Like I did on.
Did you ever watch season 4 of Zoe 101?
I don't remember him on that show.
Moving on. Any final thoughts on Best Actor? We need to get to Direction and Best Picture.
My name's Patrick, and I'm nice. That might win Colin Farrell the Oscar.
All right.
That out there.
So, directing, we have Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin. We have the Daniels for Everything Everywhere, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness.
I forgot he was up there. Okay.
Yeah, he was indeed. They seem to really like Triangle of Sadness.
It's Triangle of Sadness. It was only up here twice, huh? Best Picture and Best Directing.
No, it's there for original screenplay. It's there for a couple things.
Okay.
It's up there for some big awards. I definitely need to get to it.
No, it's in there. So the Daniels had won the. Let's give you the rundown here. Critics' Choice. They won the Independent Spirit. They won the Directors Guild. And let's see. Yes, and then BAFTAs went to All Quiet on the Western Front, which was not nominated for this.
For directing.
Category. Yeah, for this category, I should say.
Okay.
And then Steven Spielberg won directing at Golden Globes. This feels like right now the spotlight is on the Daniels.
I think I would say that too.
I would love for the Daniels to win because, again, I don't think there's ever going to be a film like this ever again for the next 20 years.
You don't think their next one, their follow-up is going to be?
No, they're not going to. This is peak. This is such peak. Like what happens in this movie is crazy. And they, as directors,
I just feel like there's a direct line between the Daniel Radcliffe movie and the creativity behind that movie and Everything Everywhere.
Did you say Daniel Radcliffe? What Daniel Radcliffe movie?
Swiss Army Man.
Why am I forgetting the name?
Did they do this? Did they do that?
Oh, Swiss Army Man. Jesus, that movie's great.
Oh, I don't really know the Daniels credits like that. I know this, and that's all I care about.
You know, like I didn't know that Swiss Army Man was the Daniels, and now it all makes sense. It's the same vibe.
I'm not trying to take away from it, but this does seem like, next one might be different, but this does seem like there's space in that they operate. But anyways, you were saying.
I just feel there's no movie like this, and to direct it the way they did, I think some of the scenes are just flawless. I think the emotional scenes, I think the action scenes, more of their outlandish scenes and whatnot. there's just so much thought and creativity put into this film. And the acting, as we talked about, is a huge part of it, but direction is the thing that makes it happen. And I think you got to give credit where credit is due. And I think that Daniels just, I don't think there will be a film like this for another 20 years. But here's my but. I really like Steven Spielberg in The Fabelmans. I don't know why. I was engrossed in the story of the family of the Fabelmans. And it's been a while since I've cared for a Steven Spielberg movie like this. Because I don't think I cared for West Side Story that much. Or whatever, some other projects. Don't take that personally, Dr. Mondo. I'm just saying my truth here. I don't know. I was engrossed in the tale of a young Steven Spielberg and how, I was just engrossed. Yeah. But here's my last bit. I love simplicity. So Martin McDonagh did a great job with Banshees. If you can make me invest in simplicity, you did something great. And then I hate the fact that I can talk so much shit about Tar, like as a character. That means I must have enjoyed the direction of the movie. So that's all I got. Give it to the Daniels or Spielberg.
Daniels.
You're thinking, what do you think?
I'm thinking the Daniels. I do just want to kind of shout out Todd Field. The movie is really well directed, and I believe some other industry folks had pointed that out too. I think Guillermo del Toro had mentioned really liking Tar's direction. Could be wrong about that, but I believe he did. So there's a few folks that have shouted out Tar in terms of just it being really well directed. I think the Daniels will win, and that's one that I would feel supportive of.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the Daniels, Spielberg, and Todd Field, not necessarily like the front runners, but I think the front runners, but where my interest lies the most, we'll give credit to the Daniels. Like, they did a fantastic job with Everything Everywhere. And I think there's so much about Everything Everywhere that feels niche, kind of small, indie-ish, if you will. I think the fact that this movie was able to I think transcend all its expectations and kind of just have this amazing box office run where it was having its best weekend months into its release, and things along that nature, I think just showed how Universal, they made such a very specific story. And that always feels direction related. So definitely want to credit them that. I think there is kind of a cool story where giving Steven Spielberg, one of our greatest living directors, one of the greatest directors of all time, living or non-living, giving him his third and like putting him in that like really upper echelon of directors for the movie that feels the most personal to him. You know, I think that would be cool. And about like him, you know, being a director and like kind of like growing up as a kid with like this kind of like almost curse of having this like artistic movie making eye, where it damn near breaks up his family, does break up his family. You know, I think that would be a cool way to honor Steven Spielberg. But you know, if you make me choose, I think it probably will go to the Daniels, and I'm pretty open about it in terms of like who I want to see win this, at least at this moment right now. So
all right. Well, what we're going to do is we'll move on to Best Picture. We're going to do this a little different than some of our previous categories. So I did ask you all to personally rank. So this is not who you think will win. This is not your predictions. This is just your personal ranking of the 10 nominated Best Pictures. Before we do that, I want to speed run through snubs don't explain why you feel it's a snub. We know that you like the movie, but I do want to mention that the films that you do feel were snubbed for this category. And then we'll get into our activity as a way to have some conversation about the Best Picture nominees. So any films you want to shout out, snubs for Best Picture?
RRR.
Nope.
Oh wait. Movies that were snubbed for Best Picture?
Yes, movies that were snubbed for Best Picture, yes.
I like that I said
The Northman and The Batman.
Second, RR, second, The Northman. Also really like The Batman. Decision to Leave, Babylon. And you know what? Just trying to like go smaller. Or ones like I haven't mentioned today. Also like The Woman King. I kind of liked She Said. I kind of liked She Said. I'm just a sucker for a slow journalism movie. And I kind of like Don't Worry, Darling. I know it was very divisive for a lot of reasons. Kind of like Don't Worry, Darling. Was it snubbed? I don't know if I'd go that far. But
another snub, Nope. Nope is my other.
Snubs. I'm just gonna count this as films that deserve some more love. Sonic 2.
Okay, we're moving on.
Whoa! Wait! Hold up!
Absolutely not.
Chip and
We
Dale.
are not wasting airspace for that.
Chip and Dale.
Goodbye. Next.
Fine.
Grandmaster, you really should have ended.
It's fine. I know where I'm wanted.
Oh. All right. So what we're going to do, for those who are unaware, the way in which the Best Picture is voted on in the real world is it is kind of like a ranking. So it's a preferential ballot where everybody in the Academy gets to vote on Best Picture. All the other categories is based off of like whatever your profession is. So actors vote for actors, directors vote for directors. But Best Picture is a catch-all for everyone. And it is preferential, so people rank. And then there's this algorithm and some numbers that I'm not going to get into because that's not what I have my degree in. But we will have some conversation about is we're going to do our own preferential ballot. So basically, we're going to talk about how we would have submitted our 10 in order of like number 10 to number 1. It is okay if we all have different answers. That's the point. But what I'd like for us to do is start with just like naming our number 10s, seeing if we have any conversation. Obviously, I want to have more conversations around maybe what our top 3s look like. So just keeping that in mind for our audience and how we use our time. So I'll probably move us along and keep us going. But what is everyone's number 10?
So I've only seen 7. So I guess if I'm going to have a number 10, it's going to be the one that I'm least interested in watching. I'm least interested in watching Triangle of Sadness.
I agree.
I also have not seen Triangle of Sadness, and I feel really bad for, potential, Triangle of Sadness fans who are coming to this podcast to hear about Triangle of Sadness competing at the Oscars, and they're just getting, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. So all 3 of you haven't seen it?
Yeah.
Nope, we have not seen it.
Okay.
I've seen 9. I've seen 9 of the 10. So after this, I'll be able to contribute.
Okay. I have seen it. It's not my number 10. My number 10 is Elvis.
Oof, Elvis.
Wait, who is it?
Elvis. Number 10
Elvis.
is Elvis.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
My quick word about that is I think Austin Butler is good in a really average movie. I think the costumes are good in a really average movie. Nothing else really works all that much for me. I think Tom Hanks is not great. Yeah, he's America's Dad.
He kind of grew on me.
Shout out to the
I did
2
not
Oscars.
like Tom Hanks.
We know he's cemented his
bad.
legacy. He's genuinely, a historic figure in the Hollywood industry, and he's not good in this movie. Moving on.
Ooh, I'll save my Tom Hanks stuff
yes,
for when we
so I
get to the
imagine Elvis is somewhere else for. So number 9 for folks.
Okay, so you guys also would have a 9 you haven't seen, right?
Yeah, so it would be in mine like Woman Talking.
Yeah, mine would be Woman Talking since I'm 30 minutes into All Quiet.
Okay.
So number 9s for those who have seen.
My number 9 is All Quiet on the Front. we're in the best picture race, so it's not like I dislike this movie. But I think my biggest kind of what I bump up against the most is probably like I'm not a big war movie person in general. So rarely do I walk out of a war movie being like, oh, I love that, you know? So this one, I was just kind of like, yeah, war is bad. Shouldn't do it. And there were scenes that I really enjoyed, especially like with when the tanks roll in. There was something about that scene in particular where I was like riveted. Just imagining the fear of those boys, like seeing tanks for the first time must have been terrifying in like, you know, the early 1900s. But overall, you know, I just felt like there was stronger movies or felt more connected to other movies higher up on this list.
My number 9 is also All Quiet on the Western Front for a lot of the same reasons. I also I'm not a war movie fan, but when they're done well, you got me. So Dunkirk, I really actually liked 1917. I found this one to just be particularly cold.
Yeah,
where like,
I would put those two over it too.
Yeah, technically everything that was within the film was well done. I think even the lead actor was just pretty impressive. I just didn't have much to connect to. Found it to be just incredibly cold and sad. Which
sounds like war.
You know.
Yeah.
I liked how raw the movie was. Like it didn't sugarcoat anything. I like
not sugarcoat anything.
No, I know, but it was like very raw. Like compared to other war movies I've seen, it was raw, more just like, okay, I'm really feeling the dread, the sadness, and all that war entails.
Spoiler alert for All Quiet at the Western Front. I'll give you a second to grab your phone or your podcast listening device to skip ahead. Everybody dies. Nobody lives. So
sounds like war.
Yeah, you know. So if you're into that, maybe it really works for you. If you're kind of like not so much, well, you have it number 9 on your list.
Yeah.
If you want an extra layer, Nazis burned this book.
True. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
True.
Number 8. So I believe this is
Elvis.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, here we go. We discrepancy. So all quiet. Number 8.
Okay. All right. Number 8. You guys might come after me. I'm gonna go Top Gun Maverick.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Rico.
My number 8's Women Talking, and I will come after you for Top Gun Maverick a little later.
I know. I figured.
I'm a stan.
You didn't like Women Talking?
So I didn't. I thought it was fine. I thought some really good performances. I think the screenplay was strong. I actually found the directing, I know a lot of, and of course I'm one of them, frequently complains about the lack of representation of female directors in Best Director. I think there were certain scenes that felt pretty well directed, but I did not like. I don't like movies that feel like a play at times, and this
yes,
I don't like that either.
Yeah,
it did really feel like a play.
Yeah, it was in one room, not very dynamically done. You can tell even through the cracks where it's like, oh, that's CGI. We're not even on location at times. So I think, you know, it's nice that there is a film that is directed by a woman in this top 10, but I think it could have been like The Woman King, which was like a historical epic that was well directed.
Weird what they did to The Woman King. Weird
what
they did to The Woman King.
Don't like that at all, but I think Women Talking is bolstered by a strong script and some really pretty good ensemble performance, but I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was anything particularly outstanding.
Yeah, just to speak quickly on Top Gun. I mean, I don't know. Like I was good with it. You know, I liked it when I left the theater. I thought the scene where they're all like, dude, Maverick, nobody can do it. It's impossible. We all tried. We're all the best pilots in the world. It's impossible. Da, 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 da. And then Maverick's like, Tom Cruise is like, Oh yeah.
Are you talking about the first 10 minutes of the movie?
And then he goes and does it. No, doesn't this happen like halfway through? Don't they spend like the whole time trying to?
Well, he does two things. He does that thing, like the run that they say is really
he shows them the thing.
Yeah. He does the run, but he also does something in the beginning with the test plane, whatever.
No, that's not what he's talking about though.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the run. When he does the run, that's blockbuster filmmaking. That is like some real good. That is some movie star quality stuff.
Sounds like Tom Cruise.
The rest of the movie didn't really connect with as well, and I think I didn't really connect with our friend
Miles.
What's his name?
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. I don't think Rooster.
Yeah.
I didn't really connect with Rooster. I liked
Glenn Powell.
Hangman. Yeah, I like Hangman.
Glenn Powell.
Not Glenn Powell's. Glenn Powell, revelation. When we think about like big new coming actors, great. But
Glenn Powell's
I don't dislike Miles. Don't dislike Miles Teller. Didn't really like him in this movie. And if you don't like the Miles Teller character in this movie, you're gonna have it number 8 on your top 10 list.
Alrighty. 7.
Avatar.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, Avatar. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
We have not been talking about Avatar at all.
We should talk.
Wow,
that is telling.
Because Avatar, again, like Avatar is a visual masterpiece. Like it's a visual spectacle, and that's all it is. Like it is paper thin when it comes to its plot and its writing, but it's gorgeous to watch.
Yeah, and I think I liked Avatar. Some of the visuals were like, I was kind of like thrown off by them. Like I think my theater for some reason, like when it would go into that like super weird
it
like,
depends
motion.
on how you watched it, because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it depends if you watched it standard, regular 3D, IMAX 3D, 40X. It really depends.
Yeah, that part was like jarring to me, and it really like took me out of the movie. And I had saw the first one a couple months earlier in theaters, and I was like, wow, it's still great, holds up, amazing, no notes, loved it. The first one, spectacular. And so then like having seen the second one only a couple months later in theaters, kind of hoping for a similar experience, it's kind of let down, I think like, the plot is so interesting because I think the first one is not like this, like, you don't watch the first Avatar and be like, wow, that script was real amazing. James Cameron could really write dialogue.
No,
but the first one, I think the plot kind of really like helped with like the overall themes and stuff. And it leads to like these really big moments where like, the tree falls and like Awa hears Jake and like these really great cinematic moments. And I just kind of felt they went for them in The Way of Water. They just didn't really hit in the same way like the first one did, in my personal opinion. So
I'm just going to say,
I also didn't like some of the acting. What was the kid's name?
Nope, we're not doing that. We said it last time. We're not attributing it to the child actor. You're talking about Jack Champion. Yeah. We are going to attribute it to the script. We said this. We cannot blame the child actor.
I can blame them, but it's fine.
I'll tell you this. I do hope that the next one's better. I just, unlike the first one felt like a one singular movie, and this one did really feel like James Cameron setting up like a couple movies.
A setup. A setup.
I did notice it. Because there are lots of loose ends in this movie, and it's obvious that they're leaving these loose ends to be tied up in another movie.
Yeah.
And we did talk about Avatar: The Way of Water on its own podcast. Check that out.
Yeah, we have not been plugging these other podcasts.
Yes. We'll talk about. I will say my number 7 was Triangle of Sadness. I think that it's interesting. Some of the discourse around it is like, so it's split in 3 parts. I know some of y'all haven't seen it, so I won't spoil too much. But it's split in 3 parts, and each part has kind of a different, sort of like a different theme, a different focus per part. And so I've noticed that people have their own favorite parts. I really liked the first 2 parts. The third does not really work for me. I think there are parts of the part 3 that I did like, but I think some of 1 and 2 work for me a little bit more. But the movie as a whole, so it is, social satire. It's one of many that has been criticizing, the upper class, the rich. I think parts of it work for me, parts of it don't. It's a pretty good cast. I did actually really like the cast. And there's an actress in here, I probably should have looked up her name, so I apologize, who I actually think could have been a pretty good shout for supporting actress. But overall, I don't think it cohesively works for me. I think parts here and there do. But it's my number 7, and we'll move on to 6. Mine was Avatar: The Way of Water. I won't add too much else to what you all have already said, because I agree. I think visually really stunning. Parts work for me, some parts don't.
Mine was all quiet.
Y'all might hate me for mine. Mine was Tar.
Ooh!
Ooh! Did not crack the top 5.
Okay.
Part of me is just like, again, Cate Blanchett carries the film, and the rest of the film I don't really care for.
Does she carry though? Man.
Yeah, no, I agree. She carries. But I guess when I look at a film, this felt more like a study versus a film. This felt like a character study of Lydia Tarr. They said, let's follow her around with cameras.
But that's a thing.
I guess.
And historically, it's
Hooper TV,
only
what's your number? We're not even entertaining him. Hooper TV, what's your number?
Right, hold on. Historically, it is done mostly by men. The great men, like Daniel Day-Lewis, has done 3 of them. But anyways, you're right. To stay on track, I didn't get to say my number 7 because we were talking about Avatar: The Way of Water. So I'll say my number 6 right now is Avatar: Way of Water. My number 7 was actually Woman Talking because, similar things that you said, Dr. Ika. But I'll add, because I think it's kind of funny. I was halfway through the movie, because you had mentioned it's taking place in this conservative commune, and it's what I kind of watching it, I had pictured them, because there's not a lot of electricity. There's it's kind of very old school. It felt like I had pictured them being in the 1800s, and then halfway through the movie, a truck comes in blaring some music, modern day music, and I was so totally lost about where we were and what was happening. I think maybe if I had I saw it with a friend who was really moved by it and kind of was cried throughout the movie, because she had read the book and was familiar with the work. She was you probably should have read a plot summary before and understood what was happening. Because I was totally lost in that one. But maybe I should have read a summary, but I hadn't. So my movie experience with it only put it at 7. And then, as I said, 6 was Avatar: Way of Water for me, which we had just spoke about. So
sounds like The Village. The more y'all talk about this movie.
Yeah, the movie was set in 2010. If you're needing some of that context.
2010.
Yeah.
So you had no idea.
Still shocked.
Yeah. Everyone's number 5.
Elvis. You too?
Elvis.
The Fablemans.
Yeah, also.
The Fablemans.
I enjoy Boz from here. From time to time, I enjoy Boz. I like that this was a lukewarm Boz. I will say I would have casted someone else than Tom Hanks.
Okay, let's talk about
my boy.
Here's it kind of grew on me.
It did not.
I was kind of by halfway through, I was when you first hear the accent, you're wait, that's what he's doing? That's what he's going with? I have to listen to this the whole movie. And then halfway through, I was kind of okay with it. But like, as I walked out of the theater and thought about it, later, his whole thing is that he's a scam artist. He's not a colonel. He wasn't in the army. He doesn't have any papers existing. And it's like his weird accent that I don't even know where it's from. I think ties in to him just being a huge fake. And, you leave the movie not liking him and hating him. And that's the point. He's scum. He's the worst. He killed Elvis, he led to his death. And, I left hating him. And, I think when you leave hating a person, like a character,
it did its job.
I think he did his job. So I think Tom Hanks's performance is will probably go down in history as probably not one of his best, which is, he's Tom Hanks. He has plenty
nominated
of good ones,
for Razzie nominated.
I think it's getting too much hate. I still don't know if I would be like, oh, it's good, because so many people hated it, but I kind of didn't hate it and maybe liked it a little. But yeah, we've already talked about all this. I think Austin Butler is electric. I was texting Dr. Rika and Grandmaster Hoop yesterday after seeing it. I was like, I think Austin Butler has that it factor. I think, he's like easily like, one of these next big movie stars in a way that I think we're lacking, like in terms of like leading men, who are like, I think he's around 30. So like around 30 or under, it feels like we're kind of lacking. Yeah, we're kind of lacking in like leading men, in my opinion, who are under, around 30 or under. And I think he quickly shot up to like the top. And I think, the way you might put Tom Holland or like a Timothy Chalamet in that category, I think, Austin Butler just kind of being bigger, bulkier, taller, I think kind of like sets him apart from like, maybe them two in that way. So I liked it. Yeah. Elvis, number 5.
And then both me and Dr. Mondo had The Fablemans as number 5. Anything that particularly you wanted to say about that?
No, like basically like everyone has said what I think about The Fablemans. It's a really good movie. Like I highly enjoy it. It's not my number 1, but it's definitely there in my top 5.
Yeah, I think I would agree. It was a good movie. I don't know, not Spielberg's best, but certainly the most emotional, and I appreciated being able to kind of see that story play out. I do want to shout out one scene that I found like really like, oh, Spielberg, one of the best. Come on. Was the scene in which the parents are revealing that they're getting divorced. Ooh. And there is a camera cut of the character who is supposed to be the stand-in for Spielberg, who you see this mirror and you see him holding this camera as if alluding to the fact that, he is what is the line between what can be art and what you can project and share with other people, and what is something that's more personal. And I think that was just a really well done scene. So I just wanted to shout that out particularly. But I thought it was fine as far as like Spielberg is concerned, but just not my favorite to push it any higher. Number 4.
This was tough for me.
I'll let me just bounce off of everything you guys were saying, because number 4 was The Fablemans for me. I just like, I think Spielberg's just like a master of, this isn't like my words, just like historically of like just like knowing how to film stuff, like put the camera, and I think it's like he's always done like visual appealing movies. I think what made The Fablemans kind of like stand out in my opinion was just kind of like the ideas behind it. It just felt like he was really exploring like some like deep stuff of like, I don't know. I think going in, I thought I was going to be like, oh, this boy, struggles as a kid, but like finds art as his outlet and becomes Steven Spielberg. But it's like, that's not really the movie. It's more of like this boy is scared of movies and he uses filming as a way of learning to control his fear, and his love for movies leads to the dysfunction of his parents because he sees something that he's filming one time. And it's just like, and it's like, you know, and like one of the most emotional scenes that I think was like kind of like going around on Twitter recently was the scene in which I think his parents are like having that final fight, like before they go their separate ways, and like his siblings are crying, and like, you know, he's crying too, but he sees in the mirror like a vision of himself filming that.
That's the scene that I described.
Yeah, you know, it's just like, you know, it's just like, I mean, like I'm still trying to process like kind of what's happening there, you know, and so what is he trying to say, which I don't always feel about, like, you know, kind of the more classic blockbuster Steven Spielberg movies. So I think the ideas around that movie kind of elevate it maybe a little higher than I normally would a movie of this kind of type. So got it number 4.
Well, here, let's keep it going real quick, because Fabelmans is my number 3. Banshees being my number 4, but let me just keep the train going. Banshees was really high for me until I watched the Fabelmans. Yeah, I mean, to everything y'all are saying, y'all are nailing on the head. I just really enjoyed. I don't know. I never thought I would want a biopic of Steven Spielberg, and that's what was given here, loosely. But I looked it up too. It's pretty much to a T, kind of what happened as far as Wikipedia knows. And I stand by.
I think he said it too. Yeah. Well, I think Spielberg has spoken to that, like it being his most personal movie, and his stuff with his parents like really went down this way. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sure. Then I just really enjoyed kind of watching this kid, Sammy, who I like, you know, Dr. Rika pointed out, you know, things that should be awards, breakout performances. The dude who did Sammy, aka young Steven, I think he did a very good job. I was like, this looks like Steven Spielberg. Just kind of I like to think of the scene where he is directing one of his scout mates, because he filmed the war film with a lot of his scouts, where he is directing him, telling him to, you know, to emote some emotions, because, you know, you led your troops into battle. And that scene was really good because it's a meta commentary. I was like, Steven Spielberg's probably talking to this kid, telling him how to talk to people when you're trying to direct them. 1, 2, you know, he's like, you just led your men into, you know, a massacre. Sammy, the character, feels like he was leading his family into a massacre, knowing that, having the knowledge that, you know, his mother was sleeping around with Benny and whatnot, you know, and, you know, didn't know how to emote that. And I love that scene, and I think Steven Spielberg did it. And again, it's not even that much that he does directing wise. It's just the choices made within the film itself. I think it's just really good. So I was really captivated by the Fabelmans. Never thought I would.
That scene comes after he finds out.
Yes, because he had already edited the whatchamacallit,
the camping trip.
I don't know if he had revealed it yet.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
wow,
how I did. That's how I took it watching that scene.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even think I caught that, but like that's like also super interesting. Okay, damn. Woo! Good movie. Yeah. Good
number movie. 4, Dr. Mondale, what was your number 4?
Oh, my number 4 was Tar.
Any thoughts?
No, like Tar again. Cate Blanchett's acting is just spectacular in that movie. She is the movie, honestly. But she does such a freaking great job that she put it like in the top 5 for me just because of her. That's it. It feels like I am watching Lydia Tarr, as like I think we've said here. It's a great performance, honestly.
My number 4 is Banshees. Solid script. I really loved Colin Farrell here. I actually really liked Barry Cohen as well. I know he won the BAFTA for Best Supporting Actor. I think, you know, Keith week one obviously is who I'm pulling for, and I think will win. But I mentioned this at the year-end kind of movies in 2022 of just like the scene at the the lake that I just found particularly gripping. I think he's incredibly talented. Yeah, I really liked Banshees. It's my number 4. Number 3 is
Top Gun.
Mine's Banshees. Mine's Banshees. Yeah, you know, it's an interesting movie. I kind of really like Martin McDonagh's like filmmaking style and his like writing. Like I'm one of the I feel like few people who like 3 Billboards out of Ebbington, Missouri. You know, but
oh, is that him?
Yeah,
you know, and this is his follow-up to that, and like I enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed this, which feels like, you know, kind of in a different universe, but also kind of like has just kind of like the vibe of a Martin McDonagh movie. And you know, there's just like something there where it's like those shots of like the coast and like the, you know, the beautiful landscapes and this beautiful just small town, I think kind of really like set you in this beautiful setting. And then just having it be centered around a person who doesn't want to be friends with somebody else, who's kind of like, you know, sees themselves as like being able to offer more to life.
You're just
it's
dull.
Just so good.
You're just dull, Colin.
Oh yeah,
You're
like
dull, Podrick.
Like Banshees, the entire notion of it is like so simple, but it's like so wacky and dark at the same time. It's just like, I don't like it. It's like, that's it. And how he's like,
have a conversation with you.
No, it's just like, I will cut my fingers off, and he's like, nah, you won't. And then
he starts cutting
a finger. I was like, what?
Oh man. But then when the donkey dies,
yeah,
devastated.
God. Listen, I was live texting Dr. Rika.
He was indeed. He's
devastated for his friend, though. He's devastated for it. He hates that he helped kill his friend's donkey. Like, or not his non-friend's donkey.
That's why he lets him burn down his house.
You know, it's just like, it's such a weird relationship. And it's like...
No, and like you see cool. How Colin Farrell character just like goes like dark, like deeper and deeper into darkness, like throughout the movie, like because like he's such a good man. He's such a good man. He is naive. He is ignorant, but he is innocent. Like, and you see how little things he does, very little things throughout the movie. Like, again, I forgot like the kid's character where I think he tells him a lie, and he's like, I thought you were one of the good ones. How he tells one of the musicians, the traveling musicians, hey, yeah, your father, he was run over, I think, by a carrot. Another one? Like,
no.
And it was like these little things. Like you laugh about it, but it's like, again, this innocent man is like he's starting to lie. He's starting to feel jealousy. All these negative emotions, and then at the end of the movie, it's like we are so we're clear. It's like we never will be. It's like he's a totally different person at the end of the movie.
Also, at the end of the movie, they just start being friends again, which is
there's no. I think it's murkier. I don't think they.
No. It's just like,
well, they're conversing like they're
conversing,
friends.
But they're not.
I look at that movie because it's my number 4. And honestly, I can interchange them. I look at this movie, and I'm like, it's very simplistic in plot and whatnot, and you know, I forget Brendan Gleeson's character's name, but you know, he keeps calling Podrick dull. But then a lot of these shots are showing the countryside of Ireland, and there's not much going on here for anybody. And it's like, what the hell is he supposed to talk about? You know? And yeah, just I think the whole movie is just a very nice character piece on friendship and legacy, and just, I don't know, just human nature in general. Now I think the finger cutting is kind of the left field moment that definitely kind of hooks you in for a laugh and hooks you into the absurdity, and also hooks you into just the dark places people can go. And I think that's what sells the movie. And then also too, spoiler alert, there was a commentary about like abusive parenting and whatnot, and Barry's character drowns, because he didn't want to go home and slips in the river.
Like it was after
he got rejected.
After he got rejected,
that too,
after he got rejected, it was like he didn't have a reason. Like he was miserable at his home. He really had no reason,
right,
to go on.
There's a piece of dialogue too where right after that happens, where he's like, I gotta go over there and do something.
Yeah.
And when you know kind of what happens, it's very foreboding. My number 3, I want to move us along. I know we've been here almost 3 hours.
You're good. You're okay.
My number 3 was Top Gun. I believe that was Dr. Mondo. Did you mention number 3?
Top Gun was my number 3.
Top Gun's my number 2. Top Gun's my number 2.
I love Top Gun. And I think there should be
Banshee
more.
is my number 2.
There should be more representation of just simplistic but really well done blockbusters that lots of people saw in Best Picture. I think part of my call, which is why I actually liked, at the top of the hours, we talked about the fact that there is a variety of films in these 10, because now they've had to expand it to 10. And, the Academy is always looking for more viewers. They want people to watch. They want ratings to be better than they have been in the last couple of years. And I think part of it is why some folks don't watch is they just, likely they're not interested, but I also don't think we often try to highlight things that just everyday people watch in the same way we did, say, like in the 90s. So there were a lot more like blockbusters and things people were actually going to the theater to see in the past as compared to more recently. And I just feel like the success of Top Gun, where like people went to the theater in droves to go see this movie multiple times, told a friend to go also see this movie, regardless of whether you saw the first one or not. I think there's something to just being able to say like, hey, blockbusters are worthy of being recognized. I think this one's a pretty goddamn solid one.
It's a good blockbuster, like an amazing blockbuster. From start to finish, it is exciting. Like it is an exciting movie. It has you on the edge of your seat. The flight scenes are Jesus Christ. We know that wasn't a green screen.
It was not with a green screen, correct?
We know that wasn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I put off Top Gun for so long. I only watched it in either January or December, and I was just invested all the way through. It was crazy. I was like, I shouldn't care that much. Some of these characters don't even got that much development, and yet I was like, I don't care. Like, I love seeing Lawrence from Insecure.
Yeah, he was good too.
He was good too. I love seeing him. I love seeing the new Falcon from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was like, I love this cast, and I was like, half of y'all don't have no.
The cast was really good.
That's the new Falcon.
That is the new Falcon. Yeah.
And also shout out to Val Kilmer for appearing.
Okay, all right.
Great moment.
There are ways to do a 30-year sequel, and this was a really good way of doing it. Val Kilmer, I mean, he has no lines. I think he says
no.
No, he does.
He only physically says.
No, but what he says, like the voice of Val Kilmer in that movie is made out of AI. So an AI took like all the movies that Val Kilmer has ever made, right, and made a synthetic voice, because Val Kilmer, I think, had throat cancer. So
did he really?
Oh, I thought he.
Yeah, Val Kilmer had throat cancer. Yes,
that's real.
That's the coolest.
That's real. Val Kilmer had throat cancer, and like he's a survivor, but he lost his voice.
They used his real life scenario to make his portrayal in the movie make sense, because he wasn't going to be a hotshot pilot, you know.
Oh my! I did not know that.
That's why that particular scene was such a big deal. I thought that was just.
I thought that was just like, this is Iceman.
And that's why Tom Cruise said, if I make Top Gun another movie, Val Kilmer has to be in it. And he said, like, I think he was like crying when, like, through that, like that after that scene, he was just like crying.
Oh, that's crazy. That just
he could not do a movie without Val Kilmer. He said it.
This sends this movie higher.
And I think something too, in particular with that scene, Tom Cruise has not really made any prestige films in decades. I think that time has passed for him. But this felt like a reminder of like he still can though. Like he
still does the Mission Impossible ones. If you want,
I mean prestigious in like what we consider like Oscar films. Like
okay, gotcha.
Just gonna be making action films probably for the rest of his life. But in terms of things in which like you're giving him a good script and you're telling him act, Tom Cruise, he doesn't make those films anymore. It's all about physical like exertion and stunts, etc., which is fine. I like the movies. But I think this was, particularly in that scene with Val Kilmer, a reminder of like, he does have talent.
Yeah, he's very talented.
You know, it's not just about the stunts. He could do all that, but he's charismatic.
Yeah.
Talented, and he's weird, and there's a lot of stuff going on in his personal life I don't know about, and I don't want to dive into that. However, you know, he is a bona fide movie star, and I think to Hooper TV's point earlier, like we don't have a lot of those.
Yep.
Because folks aren't kind of blending those things together.
The last of a dying age.
And you know, I think it was a testament to like he could still do that, and he can be Maverick, and you know, be in these planes and do all these stunts, and it'd be really exciting. And there's this funny banter back and forth with him and Miles Teller, who I did like in this film. I don't like him in everything that I've seen him in.
I like Miles Teller too. To Hooper TV.
Man, let me tell you about Miles Teller. Let me tell you about Hangman. I think the script might have did him dirty, because having his whole character be rooted around playing it safe and going slow. I mean, come on. That's not going to be the character you're like all in on. The character you're all in on is going to be Maverick. Be kind of like, yo, let's like just go for it. Like, let's take risks. Like, let's just like, and I guess it's like cool to juxtapose, but like when you have like the up and coming star needing to be the one you kind of like want to invest in, it's like, oh, he's going really slow. He needs to overcome going really slow. That's like his big character flaw. I don't know. I felt like that might have been like part of the reason why I wasn't able to kind of, you know, really gravitate towards him the way I did kind of the other side characters who were like cool and, you know, like boasting and like, you know, fun. So I don't know. Just a thought.
All right. We're going to keep it moving ahead. Number twos. I think some folks' number twos, like Grandmaster, who you said. Okay. So we've touched on some number twos.
We did, yeah.
If there are any kind of lingering.
My two, I mean, I guess this is it. This is going to reveal everybody's number one, right?
Yeah.
All right. My number two, I think if I'm being honest, it's Tar.
Oh, good. Very
my number
good.
Two is
Very
also
good.
Tar.
Before we get to our number ones, I want to say one of the coolest aspects of Tar for me was kind of like, I thought it like, you know, I think like cancel culture is very much like in the greater pop culture, and, you know, just like a big topic that like, you know, I feel like a lot of people, we all speak about, and it's being explored in like a lot of different ways, especially like by comedians who want to, you know, rail against it. I I thought Tar did it in like a really cool and like interesting way where, you know, Lydia kind of does lose everything. And I think I mentioned this earlier. I really liked how the movie never shows you if she really did anything or not. It's all accusations, you know, it's all kind of like hints at stuff. It kind of like leads you to believe that, you know, she probably did something, like all these allegations are around her, but like the film itself doesn't quite, you know, specifically show you the way like a movie can, if like something really happened at any point or not. And I thought that was like really was like added a level, or excuse me, a layer of complexity to the movie and to how you should feel about Lydia Tarr. And I would also add that, you know, I saw it with like two of my friends, and we all kind of have like different takes when we were leaving. You know, like one was like, oh, I think I was the person. I was like, oh yeah, she definitely did mess up. And one of them was like, we never saw it. You know, it was all accusations. What are you talking about? How can you know for sure? And it was like, I think another one was like, you know, somewhere in the middle. And I think it led to a lot of cool and interesting conversations about, you know, cancel culture, accusations, and kind of just like this world we're living in right now, where how quickly like everything could be like lost and things along those lines, and people who have power and how they use them, how they exercise that power, and how they're able to, you know, potentially trap people around them. I don't know, just seemed like it was like, you know, it was like a great performance. We've been speaking a lot about performance. We've mentioned like the script and stuff, but I think there's like other themes it's exploring and other layers that I think also makes it like a movie that really sits with you and that you want to chew on like long after you've seen it. So shout out to Tar. But well, you know, for this ranking, I got it at 2.
It was also my number 2. Yeah, it was also my number 2. I'm actually not going to add anything to that because I agree. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I believe all of our number ones are Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yep.
I'll start by saying I find the Academy more interesting when it takes chances. So wins like Parasite, wins like The Shape of Water, Moonlight, those things are exciting to me, and a win for Everything Everywhere All at Once would also be exciting. It's a genre film. It's absurd. It is an indie film. You know, it was not made for as much money as some of the other ones listed on here, and it didn't make as much money as some of the ones listed on here as far as Best Picture. And it still prevailed in terms of being able to connect with audiences, word of mouth, people saying like, please, like, watch this. And there is, you know, that element of, yes, it's weird and kooky, and there's, you know, the editing is phenomenal as we're kind of going through all these different worlds and universes. And at the same time, it's an immigrant story about a family trying to hold it together and connect to one another and figure out who they are and who they want it to be, and how that doesn't always that's not always congruent in your life. And so then you're disappointed, and how do you accept that disappointment and move forward? Or the question is, can I accept the disappointment and move forward? Like, what do I do when I feel stuck in a life? Like, how do I manage that? And as a person who works with people all the time about their stuckness and about who they feel they are and what they want to accomplish in their life, and I find that fascinating, and that's what I do for a living. I love to see that portrayed in a movie, but then also have fun with it, because I think sometimes, I imagine there have been movies that have explored an immigrant story or have explored family dynamics and have done so pretty straightforward. I appreciate that this film can just have like rocks and people with you know, hot dog fingers and a raccoon that you know, all these various elements that are just like wild but also really fun and creative, and I think we need more of that. And I'm always so disappointed when the Academy doesn't recognize, whether it be sci-fi or horror especially, in comedies, and the musicals have got like a little bit more love in comparison to some of these other genres, but it's so focused on dramas and these epics, and sometimes it can just be something that feels really special, not only on like a technical level, but just like for an audience to sit down and watch and enjoy. So
you don't need a serious drama or an epic to connect with the audience and make the audience feel certain feelings. And Everywhere All at Once, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna be in awe, and you're just gonna feel like so connected to all the different characters and the different story, and just have fun with it. It's a roller coaster of emotions made in a very unique way that just freshens everything up and kind of touches. It is the best. Just gonna say that it is the best movie of the multiverse.
That's true. It did it the best.
Multiverse.
It did the multiverse right.
I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but I am gonna say this, and I've been saying it all night. There is no movie like it, and there won't be for another 20 years. I think the last thing I like to add to this film is shout out to James Hong, who I don't think receives enough praise for this too. James Hong played her father, prolific Asian American actor. He's 94. He just got his.
Wow, I didn't know either.
Yeah, and he's been around. You know James Hong, even if you don't even realize you know James Hong.
I know. I can't think of anything else he's been in, but I know him.
I can name you so many things James Hong has done, but listen, he just got his Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame. Yeah, man. Just this movie is everything. It really is everything, and it fits so many other genres. It is unlike any movie I've ever seen. So, yeah, no, I don't know, man. I've never felt so strongly about a film, upon seeing this one. So, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
He's in Turning Red.
He's in so many things. I'm telling you. He's 94. He's been around.
Cooper TV, any additional thoughts?
We've talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once plenty. I don't know if I have any additional thoughts. I just, obviously it's still my number one. I think like movies I felt a little more attached to just weren't nominated for Best Picture, which is fine. But it's still like a very great, strong movie. It is so creative. It is, endlessly interesting. And if it wins, I'll be happy. So I think it'll be interesting to see, kind of like where the Daniels go like after this. I'm kind of like I'm not in the boat as Grandmaster Hoop in terms of like there'll never be another movie like this. But I think if like we want to award this one like in this moment, like I'm here for it. So
all right. The Oscars are this coming Sunday on ABC. I don't have live TV, so I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna watch it.
I don't think any of us have live TV.
Yeah. So
damn, wait. ABC, huh?
ABC.
Oh, flipping dippity doo dah day.
Yeah.
I have to get the upgrade for Hulu.
Well, it is on ABC this coming Sunday. We'll see who takes the top prizes. I appreciate y'all's time. I have not had dinner, so I'm gonna do that. But thank you to Dr. Mondo and Hooper TV and Grandmaster Hoop and myself for getting together and having likely a probably 3-hour conversation about the Oscars. But I think there's some good movies. Hopefully we convince you to watch some of them, many of which are available on streaming. But if you could see it in theaters, we are certainly supporters of seeing films where they should be seen. Which
you got 3 days.
Yeah, hopefully the next Oscar slaps. And is really
wow. Bravo. Wow.
Bravo.
How long did it take you to write that one?
What do you mean? I mean, like, all right, we made it a rule we're going to talk about certain things.
And we're not.
I thought we haven't, but I felt like we might be doing our listeners a disservice if we didn't.
You know what? Maybe. I would say it was a better joke than that entire comedy special. So that's the Yanko Table signing off. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, and we have a Discord server where things are talked about, and we also cover things like Marvel and DC and video games and anime and many of the movies we've discussed today, including Avatar and Everything Everywhere All at Once, have been discussed on alternative podcasts all on their own. So go check out those past episodes, and yay us. Oscars!